시고 엄청 잘 돌아가네.
네. 뱅뱅 돌아가네요. 뱅뱅.
설정률은 이니까 저기까지가.
변호사님 오늘 유튜브 찍으시나요?
아니 이쪽만 찍을까요?
감사합니다.
이쪽만 찍어도 돼요?
네네.
이쪽은 찍어도 괜찮아요?
네, 제 얼굴 안
네,
나오는 게
네,
싫어서.
네, 네.
나오기 싫어서.
네. 알겠습니다. 또 나오기 좋아하시는 분들도 계시죠.
엑스퍼트 나오시는
마리오 박사는 어디에서 오셨나요?
그럼 원래 미국 사람이에요.
미국
사람인데 독일에서 대학교로 나왔지만 한국에 온 지 지금은 한 24년 돼가요.
24년.
미국 무대에 아버님께서 그 군 모으셨답니다. 대형 풀스방으로 80년대 초에 계셨나요? 제가 좀 당시에
네, 미국 팔군에
제가 한투사로 조정대에서 그때 오셨다고 지금 북한학 공부하시나요? 저 가르치신다네요. 고상에서. 공서대학교.
박지를
아니 여기 교수님이시구나.
네.
제가 아니에요.
부산에서 오셨어요?
I was in my info. I
한국말 잘해, 부산말 잘해.
영어 하시는 거
Actually, I thought you're German.
Everybody says that.
Yeah, that's what I asked
Yeah,
you.
I always get
But
that.
you have this.
Yeah, I just see Europeans.
반갑습니다.
아니 반갑습니다.
제 거를 제가 보내드릴게요.
네. 성함이
저 김윤숙이고
네.
걸컴한 파지하고 S 기독론에서 어쨌든
알겠습니다. 예.
처음 알렵니다.
네. 감사합니다.
이스라엘.
아,
이스라엘 얘기하는 거.
그러시군요.
이스라엘 다시 얘기해주면.
부산 말고도 다른 지역도 많이 가보시나요?
저는 꽤 가봤죠. 네, 거의 다 돌려다녔죠. 네, 북한에도 몇 번 갔다 왔고.
부산 액센트도 있는데.
있다고 해요. 네, 제가 택시로 타면 서울에서 택시로 타면 기수들이 혹시 부산에서 오셨나요? 이렇게 얘기하는 경우가 많아요. 브레이트 선생님이잖아요. We're all inside. We're all here. Everybody's here. Yeah, we're all on the ninth floor. I'm the only one from our side, so yeah, okay. 브레이트 선생님입니다.
부산에서 제일 기억에 남는 장소가 어디세요?
저는 아직도 살고 있기 때문에 기억에 남는 장소는 글쎄요, 제가 주례동만 잘 알고 있거든요. 주례동에 살고 있거든요.
수레동.
네, 주례이동. 정세대학교도 거기 있고. 저는 부산은 그렇게 잘 알지 못하는 것 같아요.
멋있는 곳이 많이 있는데.
그거는 그렇죠. 그런데 서부산하고 동부산은 진짜 차이가 크더라고요.
그죠.
서울 같으면 강남보다 그런 차이보다 더 큰 것 같아요. 그러니까 모든 좋은 것이 다 무조건 해운대나 광안리 쪽으로 가는데 서부산은 사실상 그렇게 예쁜 지역이라고 하지 못하죠.
그렇죠.
그게 좀 안 좋은 것 같아요. 왜 그런지 모르지만.
너무 발달해서 해운대나 이쪽은 서울 가격도 좋고 못하죠.
그렇죠. 네, 맞습니다. 네, 강남이나 해운대나 잘 가보죠. 그런데 서부산은 완전히 다른 도시인 것 같은 그런 느낌이 들어요. 오히려 마산, 장원과 같은 그런 분위기이고 해운대하고 울산은 굉장히 비슷한 것 같아요. 시간이 갈수록 그렇게 돼가는 것 같아요. 안 좋은 현상인 것 같아요. 부산은 문제가 한두 가지 아니죠.
한두 가지가 아니죠.
네. 항상 뭐 인구도 항상 줄어들고 있고 우리 대학교들은 다 고생하고 있잖아요. 지방대들 진짜.
공서대학교의 전에 총장님이 목사님이셨어요.
네, 그렇죠. 네, 저도
잘
만나뵌 적이 있죠. 네.
아드님 그래서 학교 잘 운영하고 있는 것 같아요.
그런 것 같죠. 네. 워낙 조건들이 워낙 안 좋아서 좀 힘들 것 같아요.
여기 전에 앉을 자리 주세요. 앉을 자리 만들어서 아시죠?
옛날에 뵀었던 것 같은데.
그랬겠죠.
네.
예.
아, 싱가포르.
약간 밖에서 대기했어요. 그래도 정식으로 다시.
I run out of
신입 기자 했을 때 KBS 나오시는 뉴스에서 보고 있었어요. 이현주 아나운서랑 같이. 네. 시간 내고 가서 영채영 기자가.
안 주셔도 될 것 같습니다. 자리가 다 이미 다 써 있더라고요.
Your statement of the book. So the copies coming.
This is the one. Kind of, yeah. This is my wife's idea, but yeah. You know, Koreans, yeah, people like, you know, just compare to before, yeah.
한번도 아직
네, 아까 들어와 너무 좋아요. 네.
the French guys.
Andre's coming too.
I think the camera
Is
I
Andres
don't know
coming?
what the rules would be, but he's happy for you to ask him any questions after the camera if you want.
KB, I think Andres can't make it, unfortunately. But
Alex, also Alex. Yeah. Alex. Yeah, Malcolm
I should have brought my camera.
Oh, you sent me the message. Yes, yes.
So Michael, can I set up my camera?
Oh, you want to sit here?
No. Just here. I'm going to stay like stand here, and you sit here. It's okay.
Camera's okay, but.
Yes, I am.
Should we ask him? Okay.
Oh yeah. Yeah. Make sure.
저 카메라
일단-
괜찮아?
일단 카메라로 이건 촬영해도 되겠습니까? 네.
Is okay? Camera.
초리님 이따
괜찮습니다.
안 되겠습니다.
this is a famous book, Hybrid War.
This
is the manual of sub-threshold, which I've never read, but I'm always hearing about.
괜찮습니다.
Would you like me to say something at the beginning?
Yes.
Yeah? Okay. Maybe we can start. Sebastian 프랑스 사람인데 계속 항상 늦게. He's always late, so he's kind of famous for being late. So we can start. We'll start, I think.
And do you have my microphone?
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for coming today. And today we will have an informal meeting regarding the current situation in political crisis going on inside Korea. And then, so before we start, I would like to introduce you former Prime Minister and the former acting President, Mr. Sang Kyo-an.
Okay.
And then next, former lawmaker and the KBS 9 News anchor, Mr. Min Jong-un. And Mr. Park Ji-young, currently lawyer. As you know well, these three heroes are the leaders in our country, introducing or revealing this election interference going on, which has been going on inside Korea for a long time. And then they have not received any attention, but somehow they have been warriors and for a long time. And finally, even made President Yoon move into the action. So their efforts behind him, I think, is so great. So in that sense, we have, I would like to ask you to give them a hand. And then here, Dr. Kim Il-wan. He is the president of the Korea, U.S. and Israel Alliance Organization. Introduce yourself.
Hello, my name is Sarah Kim, and I'm here to help out in translation for him. I usually do, I'm a pastor also, and also I organize international meeting for Korean Conservatism and as the prayer movement, and I translate many conferences and others. Nice to meet you all.
Thank you.
And for investors, thank you for coming, despite your busy schedule. And let me introduce Mr. Michael Green first. He has been my neighbor for a long time. And then he, of course, is famous in Korean society because of his articles. And he's originally from UK. And he currently is a columnist for Korea Times and Asia Business Daily. And he also wrote the book, The New Koreans.
Okay, yeah. Thank you. I should say he's my neighbour, but I'm the one who always clears the snow. So, and I should, before we introduce the others, I just say thank you. He mentioned to me 5 years ago about election interference, and I said, "Oh, really?" He said, "Yeah, I have a friend who explained to me." He said. So recently, I asked him about it again. I said, "I'm very curious because of the martial law issue. Can I meet your friend?" So I didn't expect him to arrange to meet the experts on this. I thought I'd meet one person, but so for that reason we thought we should, all the people who are interested in this should maybe come along at the same time. So it started very small, that kind of expand. Second thing, thank you very much for translation in English. 3 Korean speakers here and two foreigners who we struggle, right? So it's for us really. So thank you for that.
세 분은 한국말을 잘하시는데 노력하시고 계십니다. Okay, next, B.R. Meyer.
안녕하세요. 동서대학교 브라이마이스입니다. 반갑습니다.
동서대학 부산의 동서대학교 교수님이시고요. 그다음에 노스 코리안 프로파간다에 대해서 전문가시고요. 그다음에 클리니스트 레이스 노스 코리아에 대한 책도 쓰셨고요.
제가 한 마디 좀 말씀드리자면 제가 저기 몇 개월 전에 한국어로 된 책 하나를 냈거든요. 제목은 사랑받지 못하는 공화국. 박영사 출판사가 낸 책인데 그런 한국의 국가 정신 문제에 대한 책이에요. 한국 사람들이 왜 자신의 공화국보다 자신 민족에 대한 감정이 더 강한지에 대한 그런 책인데요. 혹시나 흥미가 있으시면 저한테 말씀해 주세요. 제가 보내드릴게요. 긴 책이 아니에요.
His book about North Korea that you mentioned is one of the most influential books among Korean specialists because it answered the question people wondered when communism collapsed in the 1990s, why did North Korea not collapse? So he answered that question. I won't tell you the answer, you should read the book. But, and he's since then been very influential. So actually we on the journalist side, we're very happy that he's here. Because he's an analyst that journalists rely on a lot. So.
정치 분석, 정치 평론. Okay, next lady, Yoon Seok-min. She's originally Korean and CNA Singapore TV. She represents Singapore now. So she is currently the president of Seoul Foreign Correspondents Club, right?
I was until February. 네, 6월달 전까지는 회장이었습니다. 네.
외신 기자 클럽 회장을 하셨는데 그 전에 마이클 그린께서 먼저 회장을
오래전에.
한국말로.
네, 반갑습니다. 저는 임연숙입니다. 외신 기자 한지 지금 한 30년 넘게 로이터 통신사부터 시작해서 AFP 로이터 블룸버그에서 하다가 이제 싱가포르 방송국 요새 이거를 많이 취재를 하다 보니까 갑자기 그때 계엄을 이렇게 하시면서 갑자기 선거 얘기를 해서 그거에 대해서 이제 조금 얘기하다가 오늘 이런 좋은 자리가 있다 그래서 좀 이해를 좀 더 할 수 있을까 해서 이렇게 참석해 했는데 감사합니다. Thank you. 네.
감사합니다. Now Andrew Salmon. He is also British and he works for Washington Times and in the North Asia Bureau Chief. He is a conservative in Washington and he is an expert on Korean War. He has written 2 books regarding Korean War. So,
actually, just to correct you, he himself is not a conservative, but his audience is the American conservatives in Washington. So it's a very important audience.
Yeah,
I think he's a communist himself.
I've literally, in my life, I've never been to Washington DC. But I write for the newspaper. And let me just say that if, and Yunsuk will back me up on this, and so will Sebastian and Chenya, we're all members. Maybe not now, but if this same group want to meet a much wider group of foreign correspondents, it will be very easy for us to arrange for you all to meet the Seoul Foreign Correspondents Club, which will be a much bigger audience. Probably not now. When there's a new news development, we always want to hear from people on either side of the issue. So for the future.
Thank you for coming. And Sebastian Halati, thank you for coming, and you are just in time. He is a French and then
That's why I'm late.
he works for Il Figaro. And, he's a co-author of 1,000 Miles to Freedom. It means freedom is very difficult to reach. And my escape from North Korea.
It's not
With an NK defect that came on his own. Please.
Thank you for your invitation. Apology for being late. And I'm looking forward to the conversation with you. Thank you very much.
Thank you. So, Alexa Johnson is absent today. And then Mr. Yang Chin-ho.
안녕하세요. 대만에서 양채하오 기자입니다. 지금 대만 공영방송 특파원을 맡고 있습니다. 저 한국 온 지 특파원 지금 12년 차입니다. 네, 옛날에도 KBS 9시 뉴스에서 민경호 의원님 TV에서 뵙게 됐고, 또 한교안 총리님 그때 2016년 그때 제일 파란만장했던 시절에 그 역사를 봤고, 그 2020년 그때 정로구 국회의원 선거했을 때 저도 거의 며칠 동안 취재했어요. 네,
너무 잘하시네.
다시 만나서 너무 반갑습니다. 참조하겠습니다.
Thank you very much. Our coffee is ready. We have two types of coffee. One is a coffee latte, the other is Americano.
Cafe latte, please.
Coffee latte, so I don't know.
No, it's not.
Coffee latte. This is not
That's the ceremony having done at the club.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
journalists once, like 2010. No, Americano. Yeah,
오후에 커피를 마실 수 있는 분들은 행복한 분입니다.
So if he did get out, went out disguised as an anti-Mali and threw the supporters.
As a very well organized French, you come late but you can go.
So, sure, yeah.
And I'm very honored and happy to have these three heroes and experts, fighters, warriors who have been fighting all the time about this election interference in Korea. And compared to them, I know nothing. But nevertheless, I have been interested in this election interference, and then I have been trying to teach, explain my students, and also my colleagues. Some professors are very stubborn, and then I have been fighting against them. That the real election fraud has been real serious in our society. And then I have been representing the right side in Sogang University. As you know, Sogang University, we have many priests who belong to Jeonmi Biren Saje, and then they are very strong leftists. And then I even had a debate with them regarding this election fraud and then impacts of this into our society. And then I myself has been professor in Sogang University since 1989, so almost 36 years. Currently I'm a Loyola Chair professor here. And then it's my honor actually to explain you the situation regarding our Korean crisis. So today's topic of discussion is the truth. So we don't want want you to become our supporters immediately, but we don't insist, we don't beg. But after understanding the truth, and I think you will automatically become the strong supporters of our team. After that, I will give you a chance to ask many questions regarding the truth to Prime Minister Huang, and then Roland Min, and Mr. Bakchi. So best experts on South Korea's political crisis. So especially in the two items, election interference and martial law. So I'll first introduce some backgrounds. As we see that the current crisis actually arises from the reason is kind of wars between President Yoon and then Lee Jae-myung. You know who he is. And by looking at his face, I think you are already inclined to understand his character. And also, additionally, this is another war between the alliances of South Korea, USA, and the Western society as a team, and then alliances of North Korea, China, and Russia. So this is two kinds of war. Actually, one kind of war is undergoing in our Korean society. So we have to first understand his character and then his political bias. That he calls the U.S. force in South Korea as occupation force. Okay, that is a very it cannot tolerate for most Koreans. And then also he calls Japan as an enemy country. And he wants the U.S. should be ousted from, U.S. forces should be ousted from Korean territory, South Korean territory. And he wants Seoul, you know what Seoul represents, to be removed from Korea. And then he is visiting this Chinese ambassador to Korea, and then he bows, and then he will meet him. So he is so much low profile to Chinese politicians. And he even himself visited Pyongyang a long time ago. And then, you know, it's dangerous actually for us for men especially, to visit North Korea, because in Korea, all kinds of bad things can take place during the night.
When was he in Pyongyang?
This one, I don't have the exact time,
Okay.
but maybe 2006.
Okay, when everybody was going. Okay.
Yeah. And then see, in a hotel, he was staying with a lady. It is dark and they are drinking liquors. Right? And why he is sitting standing so close to a lady, I know you all understand. Because if he wants to visit North Korea, then they have a tendency to take the seeds of these males and then even produce babies out of that. And then they somehow send the videos, tapes, and then threatening, and then they can be easily hooked up by one-time visiting. And a long time ago, when President Kim Dae-jung, when Kim Dae-jung was the president, and you know Park Ji-won, the politician, he took many presidents or the owners of Korean mainstream media, and then stayed in North Korea for many years, and then many days. And then after that visit, somehow these mainstream media became so much softer to North Korea. And in our society, you know that many leaders of religion also visited North Korea, and then somehow they have become strong supporters of North Korea. Right? So knowing all this, I think he is now somehow hooked up by North Korea, and then maybe by China also. And by that way, he seems to be manipulated. I think he's a puppet. This is my personal opinion. He's a puppet being played by some bigger, some shadow deep states. That is my personal opinion.
Are you saying that, in English it's called a honey trap, where they try and sexually trap? Are you saying Lee Jae-myung is a victim of that, or it's just you feel it?
This is not only my feeling, and usually there are many evidence. Otherwise, he cannot be such a strong man here. It's somehow his spirits somehow, I think, is backed up by or threatened because of the threat behind him. See, usually why would you stand so close to a lady, almost touching each other? That somehow makes me suspect that he had some affairs with these ladies. I don't know whether these two ladies are the same. They look different to me.
There's a memoir, written by Lee Jae-myung himself, and he said that he wrote that, I was drunk and I was in the midst of sleeping, and somebody knocked, and I went out, woke up, and there's this lady, and she said that I'm the one who's supposed to talk with you, So he himself explained the situation. He was drunk. It was late at night. He was sleeping. A lady came in and he said, "You should talk with me." So there's no proof that such what do you call honey trap. But we can suspect or assume.
Okay, so he is a hardcore pro-China and pro-North Korea politician. And then he wants cut the alliances between South Korea and the US and between South Korea and Japan. So that's why he always makes this movement, hate Japan movement in South Korea. So these I try to explain the 6 major power agencies in South Korea. Of course, the government, and the legislature, and judiciary, and the National Election Commission, and the Constitutional Court. And this is for national, and this is news media nowadays become very strong power group. You all belong to this news media, so I can easily see that you understand the meaning. So these are 6 power agencies in South Korea, and government has this of course defense, interior, and then justice, and also we have some strange things that corruption police, the office of corruption. See, and the defense has this military, and the interior has this police, and justice has this prosecution. And Prime Minister Wang has been the minister of this one, and also he was the Prime Minister and also acting President. And we have less special, we have like the ruling party or opposition parties, and the main things. And then somehow in our society we have some problem because the National Election Commission, the chairpersons come from judiciary. The judges come here and they become the chairpersons. So, for example, there is one national central, and also 17 city and provincial, and also 200, almost 50 district, city, county. So total about 270 judges become automatically the chairpersons during the election period. Okay, but one of my friends who was the chairperson in one of this district, he confessed to me actually he doesn't understand what's going on inside this National Election Commission. He does not understand, but he is supposed to represent as the chairperson. So that is a problem. So all the things are actually being conducted by this thing, but they are just acting as like a puppet or some representative, just a face. So this becomes one body. This becomes one body. So if there is any problem, okay, so for example, if National Election Commission conducts election fraud or election interference, then that can enable, for example, Party A become the majority, take the majority seat in the National Assembly. Okay, then Party B members or Party B will be angry about it and can file lawsuits to Supreme Court. Supposed to file lawsuits immediately to Supreme Court, and the Supreme Court either reject or raise their hands. But there is a problem because if this judiciary, because almost 270 judges are involved, although they did not do all the details of this kind of election interference, but nevertheless they are responsible for the outcomes. That is the problem. So if you file lawsuits, then they are supposed to reject the file lawsuits immediately, because otherwise if they admit or raise the hands of these plaintiffs, then they are in trouble. Not only himself, but many, the group of people, large number of people have to suffer simultaneously, and they will make this judiciary almost collapse. So they cannot accept, they cannot admit. That is the problem. So these two are now has become one body. There is a structural problem. So actually, by the law, the decision must be made within 6 months. This is the law. But now you see two gentlemen, lawmaker Mr. Min and Roy Park, and then they filed a lawsuit on 2020, May 7. And then when I received the result is 22, July 28. So it took more than 2 years in 2 months. This is illegal, actually. The judiciary was not doing their duties, right? They are violating laws by themselves. They are lawyers, but courts are violating the laws by themselves. But somehow we cannot do anything here in Korea. And then, so as I mentioned, the decision must be made within 6 months by the law, because this is an election regarding things, right? so that if there are problems, then you should immediately replace the bad candidates with a good candidate, and you should take the seats in the National Assembly.
Okay, what was the decision by the Supreme Court?
Yeah, it is coming.
Oh, sorry.
You are very accurate. That's very fast. Yeah. And then the reason was the verdict was very ridiculous because the plaintiff was unable to specify who committed the election interference. How could we prove who did this requires you don't listen to the president alone, even declare the martial law. It was that much difficult. He risked his life. So how could Mr. Min can provide solid evidence without searching warrants or kind of thing? It's impossible, right? But this is the plaintiff was unable to specify who committed the election interference. Actually, they did, right? So this is so ridiculous about it. And then so this lawyer, Kim Han-min, said the National Election Commission, this is a state agency, right? Is responsible for proving legitimacy. They themselves should prove this as a state agency, but this is so important thing, so serious thing, right? So, this was the problem. So if you can, through this election interference, if you make this party become the vast majority, close to 2/3 or more than 2/3, then it's a big problem. Now all of a sudden, then this party becomes almighty. It really becomes almighty, and then can if this becomes now a legislative dictatorship. They become this party A, or the leader of party A becomes a dictator instead of president. Then it's a significant problem. And then, for example, this is DPK, Democratic Minjidang, and then see they made this impeachment motion for 29 times during the last 27 years after President Yoon Suk-yeol became the president, right? And also they proposed even more than 100 years after this martial law. How could they keep producing so many dirty, ugly, and then this kind of laws? 3 every day. This is a Guinness Book record, I think. This is, how could they think very carefully about each deal? They don't, they just keep producing day by day, 3 every day. This we cannot tolerate anymore. Our society is completely ruined by these dictatorships. So if you take over the legislature through election methods, you can take over the entire country. So instead of war, one can easily take over a country by using election interference. So now this has become a new paradigm of war. This is not only does not restrict to Korea. It does not limit to Korea. In all of the world, it can act as a tool to take over one country or countries. So I mean, this is a kind of ultra-unlimited war.
unrestricted,
unrestricted, ultra-unrestricted.
ultra 안 쓰게 되는데.
Unrestricted.
ultra 빼고 이렇게.
Unrestricted kind of war.
실제 다 틀렸는데 그냥 unrestricted warfare.
예, 놔두시면 됩니다. 예, 교수님 말씀하시는 거니까요.
This is a famous phrase by Stalin, those who vote decide nothing, and then those who count the vote decide everything. That is actually the situation in Korea. We vote, but actually they decide. And we will see many evidence. So there are two types of voting somehow in Korea. The first is most troublesome early voting and the regular voting. There is always a 3-4 days interval in between. And then during these 3-4 days, they can manipulate all these votes, ballots. So, and also this early voting is divided into within the district and then outside the district.
Within the district, within the district, does that mean inside offline?
Yeah, inside your area.
Oh,
Residential area.
But it's done online.
No, offline.
Inside. Oh, so that's what Koreans mean when they say kwanne.
Yeah, you're right.
Kwanne, okay, that's what that means.
Actually, that's not 3 days, 4 to 5 days.
4 to 5, that's what I thought, yeah, 4 to 5 days.
That's high as all you.
4 to 5 days. Enough days for the National Election Commission manipulate the collective votes.
Yes. Outside it's labeled.
That's okay.
And I go to the methods and evidences. There's offline and online, and then this is in other terms, analog and then digital. While even there is a statistical evidence. So first let's go to offline analog evidences. So this is the first YouTube I observed. This is during the 2020. And then this man, who was a military person, and then somehow said that he put the signature after this seal. But when the collection box arrived, came back for opening, and he discovered that his own signature is different. So he was very, this was his original, and he took a photo just in case. But when it came back after several days, someone else wrote his signature instead of him. So he argued about this to the election commission people, that they somehow kicked him out of the site. The police came and then pushed him outside the county area. And also see this is CCTV. They store this is National Election Commission. They store these ballot boxes for several days. And you see somehow this a person is writing signature, really writing signatures secretly. This is a problem.
Is that that's the 사전 투표? That's the 사전 투표 boxes. Okay.
Area.
Early voting
Yeah,
boxes.
yeah.
Okay.
And see, even they opened the
Labeled.
mail,
Yeah.
and then they are doing all kinds of things. You see, this year was removed and then newly attached. And this is almost like breathing. This kind of thing is very strange.
제가 한 가지 지금 여쭤볼게요. 저기 황 선생님이서 한번 기자회견에서 몇 주 전에 무슨 헌법에 대한 얘기를 하셨는데 그것은 구체적으로 무슨 말씀이셨는지
정규 투표함이 아닌 거.
사전 투표를 옮기는 그 박스는 이게 탄탄해야 됩니다. 탄탄한 박스여야 되는데 그걸 헝겊으로 가져다녀요. 사전 투표지를 옮길 때 그런데 그걸 여는 게 너무 쉽게 열 수 있어요.
아,
실
네.
공인지를 그냥 뜯어가지고 넣을 수 있거든요. 그거는 큰 문제가 됩니다.
그러니까 손도 쉽게
손도 들어나가고요.
네,
네. 그런 얘기.
이제
부대라고 생각합니다.
그러니까 원래 규칙에는 철제 및 알루미늄,
네.
예, 저는 플라스틱재에 준하는 걸 쓰도록 되어 있는데 선관위는 일부러 헝겊 행량식 투표함을 써가지고 그걸 바꿀 수 있게 만드는 거죠. 그래서 CCTV 조작도 가능하고.
그렇군요.
네.
오케이.
이거 박주현 변호사님 설명을 잘하시죠.
네. 계속하시죠.
Somehow, when they replace the original ballot with their intended new bundles of ballots, then they have to destroy the original ballots, right? And then they are supposed to store these ballots at least for 5 years, but somehow they destroy the original ballots and they throw them away in some area, and then somehow our people detected found them, and then these are all related to this election ballots. See, this okay. And then see, in the storing this two things, ballots. And storing in this is a brand name of bread. Right? How could they store this very important this ballot papers inside these shady boxes, paper boxes? Right? That is strange. So many. There's so many. How could we trust their handling our ballots?
저 삼립빵 박스라고 하는 게 무슨 의미가 있는가 하면 저게 중국에서 만들어졌다. 이 박스, 삼립빵.
Made in China.
And we asked, why did you use those samnip bread boxes? And they said that during the night we need some bread or something to eat. So they ordered the breads in that box. But we came to know that in that box, the box is not for the finished bread. That's for the doughs. So they are lying. They are lying. So many lies. 그러니까 여기는 중간재가 들어있었거든요. 그러니까 빵을 사서 먹고 배가 고파서 그랬다 그랬는데 나중에 보니까 그게 중간재였어요. 그러니까 이거 구워야 되는. 그러니까 거짓말이죠. 저 많은 빵 참자들을.
Can I just this is in Tobong-kat. Who are they? Who are you talking about? Who's handling these boxes?
The Electoral Commission.
So the electoral
someone.
Yeah.
Right.
These are the what do you call it? The early voting offline.
No, officials.
This is the day.
Officials.
This is the actual
Oh,
day.
on the day. I see.
There is illegal box. Yeah.
Who did that?
I'm just trying to understand. I remember seeing a documentary about this, and it had a thing about an election in Taiwan where you had the voting place, the box, people put their vote in, and then the election finished, it closed, and everything changed except the box. They changed the furniture and turned it into a counting.
That box doesn't move.
So, but these boxes are moving from where to where?
We don't know from where they
This is the unique thing.
They're moving the box.
Maybe the 삼립 bread is related with 파리바게트. 파리바게트 has many communication with every area in Korea. Maybe I think someone make a fake vote and they delivered that by 삼립 or 파리바게뜨.
Cooperating.
Yeah.
So many submit boxes.
Yeah. I take a picture.
Yeah. Oh, you took it?
Yes.
He said
Yeah.
Okay, so the boxes are like open like this. You can do anything that you want. And also you see that the seals were
Stamped again.
Yes.
This is,
That means somebody opened.
Opened it.
and then we put
Oh, and then we put it back.
Yes.
Yeah. It's off center.
and then made a seal. And also they somehow made this plastic boxes. Not only 삼립빵 boxes, but also plastic boxes.
That's illegal. Illegal. Yeah.
They are not a regular this collection.
Illegal, did you say?
Yeah.
What's
Yes.
illegal?
There is a regular box.
Ballot box.
Ballot box.
Made of, aluminum.
It's not illegal.
I see.
But
Yeah.
These are
That's the legal ones.
And should not have this kind of.
How did you know to take these pictures? Is this just random inspection, or did?
No, we ourselves. We formed a citizen coalition, and they took pictures, and those are the proofs. They gathered
So people were taking pictures
Yeah.
around the
Yeah.
country and checking.
around them. Yes.
We have a network.
Good.
So was this only in Dobong, in Seoul, or was this everywhere?
No, all over the place.
And they were all using these bread boxes.
Pardon?
And they were using these bread boxes.
No.
That was just
Not
one
all,
place.
all the places, but
There were
that
just
bread
regular
box is found in Dobong area. Not only in Dobong area, but some areas, but not all the places.
Another city.
Right.
And look at this. This is like bundles of new banknotes, right? How could you expect to?
I took
see
the picture. The
this,
picture.
this was taken from his blog.
그리고 이것은 황 선생님이 말씀하신 빡빡한
네.
투표용지.
Yeah.
See, this must be regular, but now this looks strange among this.
그렇죠.
우리 이제 헌법에는 투표의 사례를 집중이 하나가 비밀 투표입니다.
총력을 좀.
비밀 투표를 시키기 위해서 선거법에서는 투표용지 받은 다음에 이걸 접어서 투표하면 넣는다 이렇게 돼 있어요. 법에 딱 돼 있어요. 그러니까 접어서 집어넣는데 나중에 재검표할 때 보니까 한 번도 접어놓은 적이 없는 종이가 나온 거예요. 이거는 유권자가 투표한 그 종이가 아니죠. 나중에 바꿔치기 하면서 들어간 가짜 투표지죠.
Somebody need to translate.
근데 선관위가 제가 할게요. 근데 선관위가 주장한 것은 무슨 특별한 용지도 썼다고.
예.
오케이.
Memory effect.
Yeah.
원형이 회복되는 특수 용지를 썼다.
So of course in Korea you're supposed to fold the ballot before you put
By
it.
law.
I did that. I voted in the Busan election. I remember folding it before I put into the box. But these are stiff, unfolded papers, and what the Electoral Commission told the people who raised doubts was, we used a special paper that reverts to its original stiff state. And as Mr. Hwang has said in a press conference, there is no such paper. It doesn't exist.
Doesn't exist.
Yeah.
As a scientist.
It doesn't exist.
종이 전문가들이 나와서 저 증언을 했어요 법원에서.
So
그런 종이
in court,
없다.
paper experts have said
그런 종이는 없다.
There's no paper like that in the world.
So by the law, as he mentioned, we are supposed to fold this ballot papers like this twice, and so that inspectors cannot see who are
Yeah.
And then if you unfold it for counting, then you should have these marks.
Yeah.
Marks. But, so if you have just a bundle, then it's supposed to be looking like this, right? This is normal.
그래서 우리가 어제 그제 그 시연회를 하면서 종이 투표용지의 그 두께, 그 크기의 종이들을 집어넣어 봤어요. 한 박스 보니까 성인 남자가 들기도 힘들어요. 이게 좀 들지 않았어요. 그래서 그냥 막 정말 빳빳한 투표지를 집어넣어도 구겨지게 돼 있어요.
그렇죠.
네. 그렇기 때문에 빳빳한 투표지가 나왔다는 거는 이건 있을 수 없는 일이죠.
So even if they hadn't folded it and they just stuck it in, it would have been screwed up inside the box. I mean, it would have been, by being packed inside, it would have lost that mistake.
그 성인 남자가 그 박스를 들기가 힘들더라고요. 그런 정도로 무겁기 때문에 만약에 빳빳한 투표를 집어넣어도 안에 들어가서 다 구겨지는 거예요. 근데 이번에 나온 거는 완전히 빳빳한 투표들이 아까 저렇게 무더기로 나왔으니까.
심지어는 아직도 연결되어 있었죠.
Right, you'll see that. But those ballot papers are mint fresh.
Right. Okay.
Mint
Now
fresh.
that's the issue.
You can cut.
Yeah.
Okay, just a question on the other side. What if, for example, this picture, this is a training session for election officials?
No.
That's a fake, these are real election.
He himself took the pictures.
Yeah.
I did it, and those are marked ballot papers.
This is a
Real, authentic ones.
Yeah.
I mean, not authentic, but we found that in the commission.
How did you get to see them then?
Because I 뭐라고죠?
증거 보전 절차.
예, 저기를
상관이?
아니요, 제가 재판을 제기했으니까. As a
Just,
plaintiff.
I took the pictures in evidence preservation procedure.
Okay.
Yes. Yeah.
So where were those ballots from? Which part of your own personal?
아, 제게 아니네. 근데
이거는 구리예요. 구리. In front of judge, I took the pictures. Yes.
Okay.
It's impossible. Yes. But the election commission, they officially responded. We invented restore. Restore shape.
Yeah,
형상보호 기능 중에.
reverted to their original shape.
Yeah.
Do they have a patent for that?
Yeah.
It comes back to its original shape even if you fold it 1,000 times.
Is this paper patented?
It doesn't exist.
주석이 뭐죠? 주석? They even told us that tin. They put tin in this paper, so it remembers. It remembers the original shape, so it unfolds. That's not true. That's a lie.
Shape restoration picture paper.
Shape restoration.
Yes.
문제는 이제 서로 빳빳한 투표지가 사전 투표의 경우에는 거의 반이 나왔어요. 거의 반, 한 45% 정도. 한두 장이 아니고.
Almost half. 45% of
There-
the early voting votes were like this.
Oh, you saw stacks of these things, did you?
Yes.
It's not just this one box.
That's why
Right.
they replaced the original with their own fake mint.
There are many evidence of election fraud, and there are additional ridiculous reasons in the judge. There is no way that election fraud offenders will leave such evidence.
Say that again.
There is no way that election fraud offenders will leave such evidence. It's so ridiculous. Yes. Yes.
They wouldn't have done it so crudely if they
Yes.
Right.
그 내가 경험한 거 하나 좀 말씀드릴게요. 이 문제 관련해서 하도 이제 우리가 사전 투표 경우 반 가까이가 한 번도 접지 않은 가짜 투표물이다 이렇게 얘기를 하니까 뭐 그럴 리가 있냐 전혀 그러면서 여러 얘기들이 있었어요. 제가 한번 재검표할 때 가봤습니다. 젊은 통역을 누가 나오셨는데
You go for it.
제가 사전 투표의 경우에 너무 가짜 투표지가 많은데
So in all the votings, there are so many fake, these bundles of papers and votes.
선관위는 그런 일이 없다고 그러니까 내가 가서 검증을 해봤어요.
So, but the what is it? 선관위, the election
Commission.
commission, they said there is no, they didn't fake the voting. So he himself went to the
ballot station.
Went to the
voting
ballot
station.
station, or,
Yeah.
yeah.
그래서 이제
recounting session.
Okay.
Okay.
Session.
제가 가서 이제 그 투표관리관 직원들이 검표 직원들이 투표용지를 100장씩 이제 배급 받아요. 그걸 이제 하나하나 다 셉니다.
And their officials, they usually receive 100 bundles each. So and they count it whether it is 100 and.
우선 100장이 맞나 보고 거기에 또 가짜 투표자 있나 없나를 봅니다.
They first count whether it is 100 ballots and then whether there is a fake or real.
그러면 이제 그 100장 다 맞다 싶으면 이제 지휘부에 넘겨요.
Once it is confirmed, they send it to the high-ranking officials.
그래서 그 지휘부에 넘기기 전에 내가 젊은 저 직원에게 검표원에게 가서 좀 확인을 했습니다.
So before they send it to the high-ranking official, I went to the young, the examiner, and I checked again.
막 세고 난 뒤에 제가 가서 센 것이 100장이 맞느냐 이렇게 물어봤어요.
Right after they were counting, I just asked them whether it is really 100 ballots.
맞다고 얘기를 했어요.
And they said it, yes.
그래서 그러면 이 중에 접은 적이 없는, 접은 적이 있는 투표지가 있느냐 그랬더니 많다고 그래요.
And I asked them, out of these 100 ballots, 접으신 적이 없는 거 맞냐고요?
네.
And are there many ballots that has no trace of folding or that has the mark of folding?
그 직원이 접은 적이 접은 적이 있는 그런 투표지가 있느냐고 내가 물어봤더니 접은 투표지 많다고, 접은 흔적이 있는 투표지 많다고 그러더라고요. 그래서
I asked her whether the ballot has been folded, just to make sure, and she said yes, it is all folded.
근데 이 사람이 이제 그러니까
Hot, yes.
내가 몇 장이 되느냐 한번 세볼래 그랬더니 본인이 센다고 그러면서 접은 흔적이 있는 그런 투표지들을 오른쪽으로 빼놨어요.
So because I was checking again, this lady, this official, she checked it again, and then whether it has the mark of this folding, she put it aside on the right side.
그 직원이 이렇게 저 형광등에 비춰가면서 접은 적이 있나 없나를 다 직접 점검을 했어요.
And she, how to say, she
held it to the light.
had it to the light to check whether it was really folded or not.
그래가지고 오른쪽에 넘긴 거, 바꿔 말하면 접은 적이 있는 거, 이것이 100장 중에 56장이 나왔어요.
So only 56 were folded, had been folded out of 100. 56%.
그 다음에 안 접은 한 번도 접은, 이게 결국 접은 적이 있는 걸 다 오른쪽만 해놨으니까 이쪽 거는 접은 적이 없는 거죠. 그게 44장이 나왔어요.
44 were not folded.
그러니까 이 40, 거의 반 가까이 되는 것이 접은 흔적이 없는 거였어요.
So 44 was not folded.
그런데 이건 비공식적으로 제가 근데 그 직원이 법원 직원입니다. 검증한 법원 직원이에요. 젊은 사람에게 내가 일부러 물어봤어요.
And she was official clerk from the commission.
한 사람 해가지고는 좀 이제 부정확할 수 있으니까 제가 좀 시간 지난 다음에 또 다른 테이블에 가서 한 번 더 같은 실험을 했어요.
So if I check just with one person, it may not be so sure. So I went to another clock and then checked it again.
그 직원도 접은 흔적이 있는 투표지가 많다 이러면서 아까처럼 똑같이 셌어요.
So she counted again. She said, that there are many papers that were folded.
이번에는 접은 흔적이 있는 투표지가 51장 나왔어요.
This time, 51 ballots were folded.
그래 빳빳한 투표지가 49장이 나온 거죠.
And still, ballots were 49.
이건 내가 직접 다 검증을 했어요.
This is what I confirmed.
근데 그 친구가 내가 뭘 하는지 모르고 이거 다 세준 거지.
And she didn't know who I was, what I was doing, so but she just counted.
그래서 부정선거가 사전 투표가 부정선거에 이용된다라고 하는 결론을 내릴 수밖에 없는. 직접 봤으니까.
I came to the conclusion that only voting is a powerful tool for this election fraud.
Can I just ask a question? In this counting booth, first of all, where was it? Second,
What was it?
Where?
Where?
In this sort of counting, not booth, in this counting room, are there observers from the two main parties? So they don't know what they're looking for. Or I mean, why would this not be obvious to? Why would people not start shouting in the room because they see this?
Yeah, if you shout, then police will come and.
Or not shouting, but why would nobody do anything if there are observers from both parties? Because both parties can claim fraud that's not in their interest, so. But they don't seem to notice it. How is that?
양쪽이 다 있었을 텐데 왜 그들이 소리치지 않았고 그리고 왜 그들 가만히 있었느냐 그 얘기와 그 다음에 어디에서 있었는지 아까 말씀.
내가 왜 소리 안 썼냐?
아니 주변에 다른 그런 목격자들도 있었어요.
아니 이제 이 요걸 내가 검증할 때는 다른 사람 모르게 했어요.
When I did this checking, there was no one else.
우선 내가 증거를 확보해야 되니까.
Because I need to get this, proof.
그걸 끝난 다음에 내가 얘기를 해줬죠. 우리 같이 나간 참관인들에게도 얘기하고.
After I did this confirmation, that I talked to others about this. But at the time, there was not people around me. He did it.
Where was it?
어디였냐고요?
근데 그 재검표장에서 발견된 투표지가 모두 가짜라고 그 변호사들이 다 얘기를 했었어요. 그러니까 원고 측 변호사들은 재검표장에서 발견된 투표지들은 모두 다 바뀐 거다. 그렇게 얘기를 했고 실제로 법원에서 보관된 투표함도 봉인지가 바뀐 바뀐 흔적이 나왔어요. 즉 이게 부정선거를 저지른 범죄자들은 법원에 있는 투표함조차도 바꿀 수 있는 거대한 카르텔.
빳빳하지 않은 종이도 가짜였다는 말씀이세요?
그러니까
아니죠.
아니요. 그거는 알 수가 없는데 처음에 민경욱 위원 지역구 재검표를 했을 때 엄청나게 이상한 투표지들이 많이 났어요. 처음에는 정상적인 투표지들이랄 거라고 생각을 했었는데 그게 아니었고 지금 생각해보면 전부 다 바꿨어요. 그러니까 이들이 뭘 하냐면 전자개표기를 이용하고 사전투표 조작을 하기 때문에 쟤들도 이 개표 상황표랑 표가 맞는지를 알 수가 없는 거예요. 그래서 표를 아예 다 바꿔버리는 거예요. 그래서 이제
발표된 숫자에 맞춰서
그러니까 there is a result to count the votes, but they don't know this is the exact numbers. So they decided, maybe I think, they decided they changed all votes. They made fake votes and they 투입하다고.
Put them into the system.
Yes.
Put them into the system.
Yeah.
But this was only done, as I understand it, this was only done in areas that go back and forth between the two parties. So it was not done in Gwangju and in Mokpo and in Challa, for example. It was done only in Seoul or the Gyeonggi Sudokon, because that goes, and maybe Busan, because that goes back and forth, right? So in the rest of the country, like in Daegu에서는 이런 거, in Daegu and Gwangju and those places which are the nawabari of a certain party, this didn't happen there. It happened in Seoul and in Busan, in what we would call swing states in English, places that go back and forth, right?
No. Actually, okay, let me put it this way. The numbers they announced as the result of the voting is different from what really is. So, but we raised the question in 39 places. Out of those numbers, only 5 places were allowed to recount. And there is a time gap between the starting point and actual recounting. So in this period, they change everything. Sometimes it took 2.5 years, more than that. So what they do is, of those 5 places, if we go to the recount, what we are counting is not the original papers.
You're counting
Why? Because it's so difficult. You have to put some, ballots, from one place and others. There are so many voting posts, so it's impossible. They gave up, and they all burned the original ballots, and they make, according to the papers they announced. So this place, A should be 340 ballots, like that. So what I assume is that if we go to certain voting posts without announcing, then we'll see the discrepancy. But because we cannot do that, we have to choose, and we have to announce, and we have to collect the evidences, and store, and then we collect all the judges and recount. Because of the time period, we give them the time to make brand new ballots.
Yeah.
That's what happened.
They burned the original ballots.
Then they ground it, and shredded, and they burned. So many fires, during that time. In many places.
So, what time? When you were asking for an investigation, or immediately after the voting?
No. That's about that time, because I raised the question after the election.
근데 언제 불이
그러니까 그때 4월 5월 그때 그러면 거기에 그건 뭐라고 그러죠? 물류센터.
After
the distribution.
물류센터에 많은 불이 났어요.
Very many fires.
Warehouse fires.
How did you know about the fires?
Yeah.
It was reported in the newspaper.
Many cases.
Sorry, can I ask a question? This is more, if I want to be the leader of an election fraud team, there's a logistical problem. I know we're going to talk about online. I assume we would be talking today about Chinese hacking or something.
Yeah.
What you're talking about right now, this part,
this is on the ground,
is physical.
Yeah.
And the thing is that democracy. I know in Korea people don't get. Okay, I'll talk to my
When Mr. Huang went to the station and checked, physically, where was that in Korea?
Yeah, I asked him, but he didn't answer the question, so I'm going to ask him again.
But Myers, you question. I think everywhere there was many manipulation of vote, but the size of manipulation is different. Maybe I think as a Swing state is big size of manipulation, and Chola is less, little, few, but yes. So there were big manipulation in the Swing state, like Seoul, Gyeonggi, Incheon, and Daejeon. There are big manipulation, but
small manipulation
because if candidate gathers over 15%, they can refund all money
Yeah, they get the money back that they spent on elections.
Yeah, so the offenders, election offenders, they control the manipulation side.
Okay.
Maybe the Democratic Party can get the over the 15%. Yeah.
아까 말씀하셨던 그 케이스들이 어디에서 있었던 거냐고.
내가 보고
선거
세 번째 재검표할 때.
아니 근데 어느 장소?
구체적으로
recounting station.
세 번째 한게 어디?
근데 그건 어디나 그렇게 하는 건데 왜 그런 걸 보죠?
Yeah,
내가
and he's
진짜
saying that it's
어디나 하는
everywhere.
건데.
Well, no, I mean that's specific. Yeah, yeah.
아까 가서 누구한테 이거 좀 보고 시간이 물어봤던 그 사건에
Was it in Seoul?
Yeah, trying
세
to
번째
refresh your memory.
세 번째가 저기 경기도 어딘데요? 안 저기 그 누구지?
Did they do this more than once? Did they do this?
수원인가요? 수원.
Maybe it could be Suwon, yeah, from their memory, and
That paper ballot box was found everywhere, but why are you so interested in
No,
that?
because I mean, if you've got a very serious ex-prime minister who's going through the ballot boxes in a certain place, I mean that's important to know. What is the place? Yeah.
But you can find that, paper. I mean, 뭐라 그랬지 내가? 헌거부된 거?
Yeah.
Sack shape ballot box.
Yes. Yeah.
If I can call it like that.
Yeah.
Then you can find it everywhere. But
Right. But this is a specific event.
수원.
Suwon.
Must be
Okay.
수원.
Okay.
Maybe 오산.
오산.
So, can I ask my question? This is more just how you explain this. It seems to me that interfering an election system in a democracy is almost a sacred thing. So, interfering with it in a systematic way is kind of act of treason. This is very serious thing. And so, in order to do what you're describing, you would need a lot of people knowing about this and doing it. And you'd think, has there been one whistleblower? Like to have 3 hackers in Beijing going like this and interfering with the Korean election is one thing.
That's a very
all
good
these
question.
people-
Everybody is asking that question. And we think that we don't need that many people to do this because they don't change everything. As I told you, only 5 places. We raised the questions, but the Supreme Court allowed us to open and recount the ballots only in 5 places. And we know where to go. Where are those 5 places? So very limited people, very limited amounts of ballots. You can change that. To change that, not many people are, required. Needed. So whistleblower. The thing is that if there are so many culprits, so many bad people, then there should be, at least one whistleblower. But those are what if those are the Chinese people? What if they are African people? Because they were found in Korea. The Chinese people were hired by the commission, and they counted the ballots. And we raised question, and the commission told us that they are more neutral. They're more neutral than the Korean nationals. Really, it's not a joke. That's what they answered us. That was what they told us. So, very limited person, and they are not changing the ballots beforehand. They announce the fake numbers, and only the designated places, and you have plenty of time to change. And if you hire not Korean people, but foreigners, then no whistleblowers. And if you pay enough money for them, and if they are the communists, ordered by the Communist Party, then there's no chance of whistleblower.
Yeah, let me just say that let's remember we had 18 million more votes in the last American election than we had this time.
제가
And how strange is that? Where did those 18 million votes come from? There was less emotion during that election than there was in this election in America, the last one. So where did those 18 million votes come from? And if we can do it in the States, why can't they do it here?
한참 회의가 잘 진행되는데 제가 좀 먼저 양해 좀 구해야 되겠습니다. 다음 일정 때문에 먼저 좀 일어나야 될 것 같아서 제가 그동안에 이 부정선거 관련돼서 자료들을 간단한 자료인데 아주 굉장히 축약적인 자료가 있습니다. 3개밖에 못 갖고 왔는데 세 종류가 있는데 하나씩밖에 못 갖고 왔는데 일단 놓고 가고 필요하면 나중에 말씀드리면서 보내드리려고 하고 저는 좀 먼저 일어나는 걸 양해해 주시기 바랍니다.
Sorry that I have to excuse myself because my next program schedule, and I have brought this 3 little booklet. Yeah, I'm sorry that I didn't bring enough, so this may be. I hope this helps you.
Before, can I ask just one very, very broad question before the acting president leaves? Korea's right wing now is in a major crisis. Right?
한국의 우파가 지금 굉장한 위기 가운데 있습니다.
Yeah.
우파가
Yeah. I'm not talking about this specific issue, just generally. Korean conservatism is facing almost an existential crisis, both on the streets and in the parliament. Is the Korean right wing going to survive over the next 5 years?
한국의 우파가 앞으로 5년 동안에 보존할 수 있을 거라고 생각하십니까? 네, 그거만 지금 답변해 주시고 가시면.
들으려고 그러는데 교수님 말씀하시라고 다시 한번 질문해 주세요.
제가
네.
아니 질문해 보세요.
지금 한국의 우파가 굉장한 위기 가운데 있는데 우리 대표님께서 생각하시기에 앞으로 한국의 5년 안에 우파들이 생존하면서 보존할 수 있을까? 어떻게 생각하시는지요?
해야 합니다. 생존하고 보존해야만 합니다. 할 수 있을까의 문제가 아니라 해야만 되죠.
Yeah, there is no way.
아니면 난 우리가 사회주의국가로 가게 되기 때문에 안 된다는
Our nation
것입니다.
will change into socialism.
그리고 지금 우리 대한민국 굉장히 어려운 상황입니다.
We are in a big crisis right now.
좌파의 공격도 힘들고 우리 안에서의 내분도 적지 않습니다.
We are suppressed by the attacks of the left wing, and there is disunity among right wing.
Right.
대통령도 지금 탄핵 추진이 되고 있어요.
And our president, as you may know, that he is impeached.
굉장히 어렵고
review now.
굉장히 어렵고 힘든 상황인데 그러나 희망이 있습니다.
This is a very serious condition, but there is one hope for us.
이 우파들이 흩어져 있고 앉아 있고 편안하게 있던 사람들이 이제 일어나기 시작했어요.
And right wing, those who were sitting in the past years, who were complacent in the places, now we are rising up right now.
다른 나라도 그렇지만 위기가 오고 나면 또 기회가 오고.
This may be the case for the other nations. When we have crisis, that means, in other words, it is opportunity.
기회를 누리다 보면 또 위기가 오는데 지금 우리는 위기를 맞았습니다.
If we are complacent in crisis, then we will have another crisis. But now we have, risen up. We are rising up now.
그래서 우리가 잘 관리하면 이것도 또 기회가 될 수 있다.
So I believe if we manage this in the moment well, I think this will be another opportunity for us.
좌파들이 다 드러나는 계기가 될 것이다.
Now this will become a moment where the leftists, all the far, left wing will be exposed.
지금 우리나라의 공수처라는 이런 해괴한 조직이 대통령을 체포하겠다고 하고 있어요.
This weird official organization called the corruption organization. They are trying to arrest our president, as you may know.
뭐 전에 같았었으면 우리 우파들이 걱정만 하고 있었습니다.
But from our experience in the past, all these left-wing people, we're just sitting there. What should we do? We're just worrying about it.
근데 불법 체포 시도에 대해서 우리가 막겠다 하고 국민들이 엄청나게 그 대통령 공관 관저 앞에 다 모여 있습니다.
But now this time, and these people, citizens who are left and right wing, we are rising up saying that we're going to block this illegal arrest So they are just protecting the presidential residency, and then we gathered there and protesting.
오늘 아침에도 제가 그 인근을 가봤는데
And this morning I went to the vicinity there, or the neighborhood of
우리
presidential
우파
residence.
시민들이 뭐 좌파도 있었지만 우파 시민들이 굉장히 많이 이미 모여 있었습니다. 아침 일찍인데.
And all in the morning, even this morning, there were so many, right-wing people gathered together. Yeah, of course, there were, small number of left-wing people there.
그러니까 저는 그래서 이 모든 것들의 원인이 부정선거였다 이런
So,
생각을 하고
I
있습니다.
believe all the cause of this, the what is happening right now, the situation is election fraud.
그러니까 부정선거는 바로 잡아내면 대한민국은 이제 다시 미래를 향해 달려갈 수 있는 그런 기회가 될 것이라고 생각합니다.
So I believe if we eradicate this, election fraud, and I believe that our Republic of Korea can, run into the bright, future for our nation.
우리 민경우 의원은 또 우리 박주현 변호사도 마찬가지인데 거의 5년 가까이 이런 부정선거와 싸우고 있고 나는 한 3년 정도를 이제 재검표 이후에 부정선거들 실체를 보고 부정선거와 싸우고 있습니다.
And Joo-hyun Park and Min Kyung-woo, these two people, they are the leader, they are the forefronters of this election, revealing election fraud in our nation. And it's been 3 years for me to just fight against this after just witnessing this election fraud happening in front of me.
처음 제가 시작할 때만 해도 우리 음모론이다. 부정선거 얘기하는 사람 음모론이다. 이러면서 매도를 했었어요.
When I first started this movement, people, usually said, this is conspiracy, and they are really biased by this conspiracy.
우리가 지치지 않고 계속 부정선거의 증거들을 찾아내고 국민들이 고발하기 시작하면서 하나하나 바꾸기 시작했습니다.
We didn't give up, and we were searching for the evidence of election fraud, and because of this, relentless, effort, we could, reveal more evidence to people and then correct the situation.
이제 결국에는 이제는 우리나라 대통령이 부정선거 이야기를 하게 됐어요.
So now I believe that our president, we came to a moment where our president declare about the election fraud.
이로써 이제 대통령이 계엄령을 했다고 해가지고 굉장히 많은 공격을 받고 있는데.
And our president is being criticized severely because he declared the martial law.
이유가 있습니다.
There is a reason.
대통령이 법에 따라서 뭘 하려고 해도 다 막힌 거예요.
Because whatever our president tried to attempt to do, and everything was blocked by this opposition party.
일할 장관도 임명 못하게 만들고.
And he could not assign, designate any officials or minister.
예산도 자기들 마음대로 우리 걸 다 깎아버리고 못하겠습니다.
Opposition party also they just reduced, they cut all the budget, but they increased the budget that was favorable to them.
그러니까 모든 것이 다 막힌 상황에서 대통령이 부정선거를 알게 되니까 이거밖에 돌파구가 없구나.
So he was blocked by every four direction, every side. And then he realized he came to know about this election fraud, and then revealing election fraud and fighting against seems to be only breakthrough.
저는 이 계엄 사태의 본질이 뭐냐를 봐야 된다고 생각합니다.
And I think we should look at the essence of this martial law.
방금 이런 상황 때문에 대통령이 가지고 있는 비상한 대권을 활용을 해서 부정선거를 찾기 위한 도전을 한 겁니다.
And because our country was almost sinking, we were in a severe, critical moment, and I think this martial law was emergency, method to survive, to revive our nation.
왜 이런 비상계엄을 썼는가에 대해서는 아실 것 같아서 제가 설명을 드리진
I'm not going to
않겠습니다.
explain why he declared the martial law because I think you already may know about this.
그래서 이제 우파들이 모이고 있습니다.
So now, right-wing people, people on the right side, they are just gathering together.
모이기 시작하면 힘들어도 결국 이겨왔던 것이 대한민국의 전통입니다.
Even though it is tough, but it is Korean's traditional. When you gather together, a miracle happens and things happen. We have breakthrough.
저는 검사 생활을 28년을 했는데
I've been a prosecutor for 28 years.
그 중에 대부분을 공안 검사로 근무를 했습니다.
And most of my official time, I worked as a police, what is it, 공안
검사,
police officer, or what is
Public
it?
security.
Public security, yeah.
네.
National security, yeah, that's right.
그래서 부정선거 늘 선거 부정을 다루고 간첩 잡고 이랬던 사람이에요.
So I've been just working to fight against this election fraud and then to just find out spies and espionage.
그러니까 부정선거를 하면 정치하는 사람은 표에 굉장히 손해가 많다고 얘기를 많이 합니다.
And usually they say, if there is election fraud, for those who are in politics, there are much to lose. They have much to lose.
그러나 저는 부정선거의 불의를 보고 그냥 침묵할 수가 없습니다.
But as for me, I cannot keep silent after just seeing this election fraud happening in front of
여기
me.
다 그렇습니다.
And
다섯
all
명이
of
다
us
그래요.
at the same spot.
결국은 정의가 승리할 것입니다.
I believe that justice will prevail.
국제사회에도 우리 두 분이 이제 미국도 여러 번 다녀오셨고
Our two, brothers, they went to the United States a couple of times.
또 대한민국에서 이제 부정선거를 아는 사람들이 너무 많아졌기 때문에 아까 질문하신 데 대해서 결론을 답드린다면 우리나라는 지금 어렵지만 결국 회복하고 이겨낼 것입니다.
And more people get to know about this election fraud. And replying to your question again, going back to your question again, I believe that our nation will rise again through this crisis.
총리님 이번에 선거위원회 들어가면서 좀 모진 좀 근거를 찾아갈 수 있었다고 생각하세요?
이거는 생각으로 될 문제가 아니라 팩트인데 팩트 실제로 확보했느냐 못했느냐 이 문제인데.
Did you find more evidence in
during
martial law where
대통령이 이런 조치를 한 뒤에 얼마 되지 않아서 지금 탄핵 소추가 됐어요.
And our the impeachment motion was issued and he's in a impeachment review.
그래서 뭔가 개헌군이 들어가서 근데 그 ICT 과학자들이 들어갔습니다. 함께 팀으로 들어갔어요. 그래서 뭔가 했을 겁니다.
And I believe something has happened because troops were sent to election commission. Not only the troops, but along with scientists.
다만 지금은 이제 개헌군으로 들어갔던 사람들도 워낙에 이제 거센 역풍이 불고 있기 때문에 뭐 쉽지 않을 거예요. 그러나 해놓은 것이 있을 거예요. 가서 빈손으로 오지 않았습니다. 3시간 동안 해놓은 것이 있을 거예요. 결국은 이런 것들이 세상으로 나오게 될 겁니다.
And I believe that the truth will come out, will be revealed in the near future.
Can I? Last question, very short one. If you can't prove this, what's the downside?
What's the
downside? You've talked about the upside. I think we're going to do.
Yes.
But if you can't prove this, what is your fate? The fate of the Korean right wing?
우리가 증명하지 못하면 운명이 어떻게 될 것인가?
부정선거를 증명하지 못하면 우리가 어떻게 될까요?
제가 조금 전에도 말씀드렸는데 뭐 다른 나라와는 다릅니다. 우리는 북한하고 대치하고 있지 않습니까?
Our landscape of Korea is different from other nations. We are confronting with North Korea. We have North Korea.
중국과 러시아와 연접해 있잖아요.
And we are also close with China and then Russia.
Yeah.
우리나라는 한미 동맹 없으면 굉장히 위험한 나라입니다.
Without the alliance with between United States and Korea, Korea is very dangerous country.
근데 우리나라에서 부정선거로 이 상황을 극복하지 못한 채 대통령 대권을 이제 뺏기게 된다면 한 번 더 뺏기면 나는 말합니다. 한 번만 더 뺏기면 우리에게 다시는 기회가 안 온다.
So if we lose the presidential election, if left-wing president comes into position, then I believe that our nation will collapse.
그래서 제가 이 부정선거를 막고 자유민주를 지키기 위해서 좀 목숨을 곧 던져서 좀 싸우고 있는 겁니다.
That's why I risk my life to fight against this election fraud.
우리나라 무너지게 할 수 없습니다.
I cannot see and just watch our election.
Shall I say on that last point?
I cannot just watch and sit and watch our nation being destroyed.
아, 그래요. 자, 그러면 죄송합니다만은 이래야 또 다음에 만날 기회가 올 것 같아요.
Sorry, sorry, and excuse me, but I think because we didn't have enough time, this will guarantee our next meeting.
아, 요거는 제가 숫자만 다시 보내드리겠습니다. 요거 한 지에는 다 있습니다.
Yeah, you can just take this and I send it.
감사합니다. 알겠습니다. 감사합니다. 알겠습니다. 자, 먼저 가세요.
There's one more factor, if I can add. I visited Washington in 2020, September 2020. I told everybody that it was a fraud. There's a statistical proofs and real proofs. Everything points out that the vote was election was fraud. But the police, the prosecutors, and the media, they won't listen. So I made up my mind to go to Washington D.C. because I was the Washington D.C. correspondent. So I'll go there. I went there, and I hold a press conference in National Press Club, and I visited. I did one-man protest in front of White House, Capitol, and what else? The Supreme Court, and even in United Nations headquarters. And I visited White House and gave a briefing to the NSC officials for longer than 1 hour.
Matt Pottinger, people like that.
Pardon?
Mr. Pottinger, was this Trump era, right?
Mr. Trump.
Yeah, so
Not the officials, not 뭐라고 그러죠? Advisor, not him, but
his advisors.
national security advisors. The officials. And I briefed for more than 1 hour, and one of our staff went to the chief of the staff office, and he briefed for 30 minutes. And they didn't listen. They didn't listen carefully enough to do something, some measures against the election fraud. But after 2 months, they experienced. Mr. Trump, he himself experienced the election fraud.
Right.
Now they know, and his staff, one of their staff, visited Korea. He told him, Mr. Park Ju-hyun, that we are sorry because we didn't listen carefully enough when I told them be aware or be next. They didn't listen me carefully enough. So now they know that there was a fraud in South Korea, and there was a fraud in the States too. And that's the existence of Mr. Trump. He became the president of the States. Now his inauguration ceremony will be on 20th, and after that period, there will be a big change in the Americans treating these accidents. I mean these situations in Korea. Now they have in common Yoon and Trump. Election fraud. Election fraud. He declared a martial law for the election fraud. That's the key point. Now they know, President Trump will know the reason for the declaring the martial law, and so that we are preparing the tickets which says stop the steal, so that they can properly know what was the reason for the martial law.
And we ask you, what do you expect of President Trump when he comes back to office? What do you expect him to do about Korea?
There can be a statement or statement like this. We hate the election fraud. We are watching closely what is happening in South Korea. I know the reason for the President Yoon to declare a martial law. That much is enough, I think. That much is enough. And he is preparing the steps to change the entire, American the election systems in the States too. Then we'll know that there's a great energy against the election fraud, because that's the poison for the democratic system.
Yeah, but
so that much.
Can I just say something here? I think that the issue of whether there was 부정선거, an illegal election or not, is not the main issue for America. I'm the only American here, so that's why I should be the one who says this. The issue is, was it necessary to declare martial law in order to look into this election? And what you need to persuade the American people is that martial law was the only way to do this. And where I have problems is this. I didn't hear Yoon Suk-yeol talking about illegal elections until December the 3rd. Nobody talked about it until then. And why did he talk? Because the opposition party was using its majority to block legislation. Now, this whole South Korean idea of pokju, is something that we don't have in the West. As Willy Brandt said, the Chancellor of Germany, he said, Mehrheit ist Mehrheit. A majority is a majority. And if you've got one more vote than the other guys, you block whatever you can. That's completely normal.
Only if they are elected,
Yeah,
lawfully.
right. But my problem is Yoon Suk-yeol did not complain about this election until the opposition majority began causing him too many problems. And then he thought, okay, what can I do about this opposition majority? Illegal election. Suddenly he's interested in it.
No,
This
that's
is
not
okay.
true.
Let
Let me
me
explain.
But I'm saying this is what you need to persuade Americans.
I'll try
Okay.
to persuade you.
Okay.
Yeah,
okay.
He was a prosecutor. He knows, how the legal system is going on.
Right.
As the professor, explained to us, the head of the election commission at every level, they are all judges.
Right.
So, the 국정원 뭐라고 그러죠? 국정원? NIS. They approved this case, and they found out that there was a fraud. So he reported. The head of the NIS reported, privately to President Yoon. So he knows the problem, and he knew from the very early stage, when he was a candidate, there was a report for him. There's a fraud, and if you, if you are not taking care of this, you'll lose the vote. Election, such things. So he knew the existence, and he himself proclaimed that there should not be any election fraud when he was a candidate. Okay, and the NIS head told him that there was a fraud. But if you start the investigation, the prosecutors should confiscate the proofs, the servers, and everything. But they won't let you. The judges, they won't let you because they would be the accused. They are the accused. So they won't let you to prosecute, investigate the server.
Right. But here's the problem. Yoon Suk-yeol, as you know, has never cared about public opinion. He said himself, I don't care about my TTU. I don't care about my approval rating. And he had what we say in English, a bully pulpit. That means he has the power to speak directly to the people and to demand, in Korean, Jinsang Kyumyeong. He could have demanded this if he had done this for months, and then he had resorted to martial law. The American people would have understood it more easily. Instead, he says nothing. He's a very isolated president, even more isolated than Moon Jae-in. Moon Jae-in at least talked to his inner circle, and Yoon Suk-yeol seems to talk to his wife and his...
No, please. Okay.
And then suddenly, out of nowhere, I'm just saying, I believe that there was an illegal election. I sympathize with President Yoon. I'm telling you what is the problem from the American perspective. And if you focus exclusively on the election fraud,
okay,
I think you're going to have a harder time persuading
Okay, if you know the facts about, the detailed facts, you'll have another opinion. Because even though you are saying that he never mentioned the election fraud, that's not true. He was the chief prosecutor.
Right.
He was a chief prosecutor, and one of his closest friend was my lawyer, Seok Dong-hyun.
The lawyer.
Yes, lawyer. So he brought this issue to him, and why don't you investigate this? And he said, as a chief prosecutor, said that the judges, justice, Supreme Court is treating this issue. So I feel burdened. I don't feel that it's easy for me to tackle that issue. That's the first one. And second one, he was ousted as the chief prosecutor, and he joined the party, and he met Lee Jun-seok, and he said that as a chief prosecutor, I wanted to investigate this election fraud.
Saito 415 선거.
Yes. And when the NIS chief privately reported, the result of the proof, then he told him that the result of the presidential election was also very strange.
Right.
I should have won by 10 or 20%, but 0.73%, that's very, very strange. And when he was a candidate, he made a speech, and he said that if there is there are people who are trying to manipulate the result of the election, then we would not let them live in this country. That's what he said. He was very straight in this.
I think if I can say just a minute to back up what Brian's saying, because I've heard this also from European embassies. I think Brian, he's not saying that this has never been talked about. And in fact, I think it was in October 2023, the Kukjongwon, they investigated and they themselves hacked.
Yes.
Remember? And they reported to the president. So there's been concern.
I'm talking about that.
I think what he's saying is that politically, like the embassies here, that as far as I've talked to, when they report to their foreign ministry in London and wherever,
their assumption is that the president got frustrated with the opposition party and then acted in an undemocratic fashion. And if there's election fraud, it's being used as an excuse. What he's saying is, if the president had given a big speech somewhere 6 months ago about we have to improve our elections, because then 3 months later another speech or something, there would be a sort of a pattern of, okay, now that I've got no option but for 6 hours to suspend normal so I can get a warrant to go in there, you know, it would be understood. It's seen too much as if it's a kind of excuse.
A gradual process need to be done.
Yes. Plus another factor that needs to be mentioned is the fact that, as you know, the Chojungdong newspapers and the I think the Negakje, I don't know, the Negakje, the cabinet system, parliamentary system advocates inside the PPP, they have been the loudest critics of you, as you know. Those people have been, those are the ones saying, you know, this mangsang, these crazy people talking about illegal elections. There have been so many conservatives saying this as well. And therefore, I think it was all the more necessary if Yoon Suk-yeol believed that the elections were illegal, he should have been saying this publicly. He should at least have been appealing to the conservatives. Of course, the Hankyoreh is not going to listen anyway, but he should at least have talked to the conservatives, and instead, so many, I watch the conservative YouTubers, they're getting this anti-Min Kyung-wook, anti-Hwang Kyo-an message from their conservative people, and Chung Kyu-jae and people like that. So why didn't Yoon Suk-yeol at least engage in open discussion of this before he suddenly resorts to martial law?
Okay, let me tell you this. You know, I rose this issue 5 years ago. That was, you know, at that time I was myself alone.
Right.
And for 5 years, they are saying that I am a crazy person. You know, this Mr. Hwang, Prime Minister Hwang, joined me. I begged him to fight with me. And he himself told me that you fight your way as Torai. I was shocked. You know, he himself told me that. You know, you fight with your style. I'll fight a different way. You know, about 1.5 years later, you know, I fought myself, and because of me, the recounting was possible. And as a result of the recounting, there was a hard proofs of election fraud. Then he joined me, and he himself told me that you fight with your style. Everybody thinks that you are Torai. I'll different way. Okay, now everybody points at that he's another Torai. How about Trump? Was he welcomed as a fighter? No, he was a crazy guy.
Yeah.
So what I'm thinking is that he was afraid of that. There's no ifs in history. If he did that, that could be perfect. But it needed him. I mean, he lacked that courage to be pointed, you know, out as a jerk. So he waited, and this is not the only reason for declaring martial law. You know, 12B01 for the yes, and prosecutors, police, and you know,
impeachments.
Yes. So there's a last. I mean, he couldn't find any other options. If he could do that, could have been better. Yeah. But it needed courage to be, you know, called a jerk. It's not an easy job. You know, for 5 years, we fought. Everybody says that still they are not listening. They are not listening. But now, because as a president, he said that I declared martial law because of, you know, partly because of this election fraud. Then now I've been saying this for 5 years, and they're listening for the first time. You know, so there's a difficult. I mean, what if he did this and this? That could have been better. But there is a difficulty. What's important is that he should win. He should prevail. Because the gentleman here told me that if this is not proved, what will be your fate? It's proved. This is the proofs. I mean, there are so many proofs. I mean, the evidences, statistical evidence, hard evidence, the 증인. Witnesses, they under oath, they said that I didn't stamp this. This is not, what I did. But the justices, so-called justices, they didn't listen. So this is a very difficult task. And as a journalist, I was a journalist for 23 years. I was a very respected journalist, and I was trained for the fact finding. I am 100% sure, and I can die for this.
So just to misunderstood why PPP, the ruling party, they call it, did they mention that?
Okay, good question.
Very,
very good question. Every question
they lost that
was
election.
erased. Okay, after I say that, Mr. Bach wants to add something. They are winners. I raised this question, and they say that, well, you're a loser.
Right.
Because you lost, you are saying that, well, there's these excuses. They are winners. And if the election fraud is proved, then what they should do? They have to go through the election again.
Right.
What the politicians hate the most is the election. Why should they do this? I mean, because
they lost the two elections at the parliament. I mean, not the presidential, but the
2020 and 2019.
But those people,
individuals who were elected, they don't want
the members of National Assembly, they are winners. So they don't care. My closest friends, they used to be my friends. They say don't listen.
Right.
They didn't listen. Maybe they won't listen, forever, because they are winners from TK and PK.
Right.
There's no election fraud, severe election fraud in PK and TK. So they knew that think that they are thinking that they won because they were very diligent and they are very, clever and whatever.
Right.
They lost because they are lazy and and now they are finding excuses for their loss. That's what it is. That's what it is.
But among the election, sorry, go ahead. Among the election commission inside, you said they're justices, but there must be more than there are more than 1, 2, 3, 10 people. There must be someone in there who agrees with you and want to speak up. I mean, they're not all from the opposition camp justices. Right?
They were afraid. They were afraid. There's a the 문서 the 판결문
Judgment result.
Judgment result, and in that paper they said that because there are 300 lawmakers who were elected by this election, when you raise a question, you have to be very cautious. That's what they say. That's what they were afraid of. If they say this was illegal and this was fraud, then they have to go through the election again, and they will be bombarded by the lawmakers. What are you talking about? This idiot is trying to raise question, and he's a loser, and he's trying to find the excuses, and you still raise his hands.
Okay. Well, and this raises the question: Yoon Suk-yeol won the presidential election, and yet it looked very fishy, as you say. 0.7, that was crazy. So that was a perfect opportunity for Yoon, as the winner of the presidential election, to say There was something wrong there. Why didn't he take that opportunity, a perfect opportunity, to say, let's take a look at these results and look at the voting more closely?
And reform.
Yeah, it could have been, very early stage of his days in office when he inaugurated, as President Trump will do. At the first day he could raise those questions, but he lost the timing.
Right.
Maybe
lost the timing.
I think
한국말로 해도 돼. 그게 더 편하네.
I think you thought the relation between America and Korea is very important. So until November 6th, the president is Joe Biden.
Right.
As you know, there is a election fraud in America. So
He didn't want to raise the topic.
maybe I think Yoon start the martial law and to open the election fraud, but after the election of elected of Trump,
Then he
he
felt-
changed his mind, and I opened this card. Maybe I think yeah.
Actually,
this
can I
is maybe I think this is the biggest point.
It's
You
trouble.
the decisions.
Actually, can I just to come back to that point and that point?
And I also want to answer you. 이거는 좀 번역을 좀 해주세요. 그 부정선거를 하는데 많은 사람들이 있을 필요는 없습니다.
And as far as I know, election fraud to happen, not many people are needed.
왜냐면은 전산 조작은 일부 유능한 해커만 있으면 되고.
And for electrical manipulation, we just need a couple of good skilled hackers.
그 다음에 투표지를 바꾸치는 것은
And changing ballots,
팀을 조직하면 되는 것입니다.
and you can just have a team.
선관위의 그 키는 그 비밀번호는 다 번호로 되어 있습니다.
Election Commission's password is everything
1, 2,
is
3,
made
4.
up.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's
1, 2,
made
3,
numbers.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5가
5.
is means 중국 공산당의 통치 시스템 모릅니다.
Yeah, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 signifies the system of Chinese government.
Sorry, what?
통치 시스템.
예, 중앙정부, 중국 중앙정부와 지방정부를 잇는 시스템 번호가 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, 3, 4,
The number that connects the central, Chinese Community Party and the regional Community Party. That number is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
네. 그래서 이재명도 그 총선과 대선 구호를 1, 2, 3, 4, 5로 했습니다.
So that's why the slogan number for Lee Jae-myung was 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, the for his, 어느 넘버 그가 왜
총선 구호와 대선 구호를 1, 2, 3, 4,
when he was
5로.
running for election, the election, presidential election, and then general election, he shouted 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's like a slogan.
그리고 it's real. It's real. If you search it, there is answers. And 그리고 중요한 것은 아까 삼립빵박스를 보았을 텐데 그 삼립빵박스가 전국의 배송 시스템을 가지고 있는 것입니다.
And remember that that Samnip bread box. They have this that branches to all the cities in Korea.
그래서 팀을 짜서 그 가짜 투표지를 만들고.
So they set up a team, and then they made this fake ballots.
그리고 집어넣기가 쉽습니다. 그리고 선관위에 잠긴 장치 역시 번호키인데 그 번호키도 역시 공유가 가능합니다.
And it was easy to put in, and then the lock system 어디 투표하면 the ballot box.
투표함이 보존된 거.
Where there's like a big container or box, where you put this ballot box, and the password, 그죠? 그게 번호라고요?
네,
password,
번호키.
And is also include, is numbers.
그러니까 전산망과 전산망과 오프라인망이 번호키만 알면 다 뚫을 수 있는 시스템이고.
So your computer system and then the actual this ballot locker or system. If you only know this number, you can open this both sides.
그리고 CCTV를 조작하고 몇몇 팀만 활용을 하면 전산 조작 후에 오프라인 조작이 가능하기 때문에 어떻게 그렇게 많은 사람들이 개입할 수 있냐라고 생각할 수 있지만 생각보다 쉬운 것입니다.
And you can manipulate the CCTV, and actually I saw that it is possible to manipulate the CCTV. And if you have a team of this manipulating, doing this manipulation job, it's easy to manipulate this, voting.
그 CCTV 조작 방법에 대해서는 어제인가요? 월요일 날 그 시연을 한 바 있는데 유튜브에 있으니까 한번 찾아봐요.
Yeah, the how to manipulate CCTV is also on YouTube.
It's on YouTube.
Yeah,
It's very easy.
Very easy.
Can I just ask, which relates to his question, but also to this issue. First question, maybe you don't know the answer. I think everyone was shocked night of December 3rd. Why did Yoon choose that timing? Do you know? Secondly, the NIS I think their audit of the National Electoral Commission it wasn't physical like you did. It was an online to see if it could be hacked open. And I understand 6 out of 7 times they broke through the firewalls easily. But from what I'm understanding is that everything you're talking about has nothing to do with cyber. This is actual physical manipulation.
We haven't got there yet.
Oh, is that still to come? If we interrupted you, please go ahead. Yeah.
Okay.
So first the date, and secondly,
he said that
a cyber attack or a physical attack?
He said that it could have been much easier for me, for him, to declare the martial law on Saturdays. As lawmakers, they go to their home, they're locals. But it was not weekend.
Yeah.
And he said that why? Because he tried to warn people about and let the people, Korean people, know that the 입법 독재를 뭐라고 그럴까?
Legislation dictatorship.
Legislation dictatorship. It seems that he tried to warn people about the legislation dictatorship. He was not that he was serious, but he was he tried to warn people, not actually go into go deeper into this martial law. That's what he tried to say, and that's what I understand.
Okay.
And the programming, Professor would explain later, but there's an interesting point. You know the motto of CCP? The motto of CCP?
I think I should, but remind me.
영원근당주, or 영원근당주, which means follow the party forever.
영원근당주.
Yeah, 영원근당주. Yes.
영원근당주.
영원히, forever, 근당주. Go with people. Follow the party forever.
Okay, I didn't know that.
And,
yeah,
there's a programming. We think that there was a program which decides the amount of vote numbers. I mean, vote numbers for the Democratic candidates. And in that numbers, a brilliant statistician found out, follow the party. The hackers' Easter egg was found in that.
I see what you're saying.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
So the NIS just said, let's try what the CCP would.
As a hacker, programmer, he wants he wants to put those, Easter egg as a reporter, investigative reporter. I dealt with these stories. They tend to leave their signature in that program, and he found that follow the party.
Are you saying that was the NIS or that was real hackers? That was real hackers who got through using that wormhole.
He really actually found those FOLLOWTHEPARTY.
That was, so who found that?
Roy Kim. He wrote a book. We've known this for 5 years, and the outer world doesn't know. Whoa, big disappointment.
Wait, sorry, you've lost me.
Roy Kim is an expert on.
Right, but in which system was this sort of communist password found?
It's not an easy job for me to understand. To explain that. He himself can explain that. I hate to make mistake. That's why I refrain from explaining.
Okay.
There's a book, this thick book, and there's a documentary about this. Roy Kim. Follow the party.
He's American or Korean?
No, he's Korean and he studied in the States.
Yeah, but sorry, this password is used in various different. You're saying this password was used as in the NEC, or it was a signature which was left behind?
No. There are numbers.
Yes.
There are certain logics. He found the logic, and he found out there's a way for him to find out those the alphabets, and
So
there were 16 letters, and he found out that because it's too difficult and too academic.
Okay.
Just think that a statistician found out the hacker's signature. Yes, this one.
These are the results, and then these are the binary, and then this is ASCII, and then it gives it.
Could you, Mr. Thanks. I'm sorry. Again, forgive me. Where was this found?
Where was that found?
Yeah. Where did you extract? Where did someone extract that from?
Let me explain this. I'll just try. There are certain numbers of votes which is allocated for each Democratic candidate. Set numbers. It's not the result of the voting, actual voting. The programmer, based on the result of the opinion poll, big data, he made a plausible numbers, and it was announced
So
as
this
a
was
result.
an opinion poll.
No.
An exit poll.
Okay.
Sorry.
So now I know what you are trying to ask me. This is it's in the website of election commission. The numbers. From that numbers,
Yes.
he found out these
Code. Yeah.
logic.
Okay.
And this is not you know what? There's this guy, Yang Jung-chul. He was the head of the think tank, Democratic Party think tank.
Right, he was Moon Jae-in's chicken.
Yeah, number one man. And he was the architect of this whole program, whole election. And he visited so many times
To China.
China, and they made MOU for the 당교가 그 사관학교 같은 건데 Chinese CCP members academic party school they made a MOU, and he did the same thing with Huawei and Tencent. Tencent, and this is intuitive.
He's the guy who ran away the day after the.
Yeah, I'm trying to say.
Oh,
There's this guy, and the 180 is a landslide victory.
Yeah.
Landslide victory.
Yeah.
The day after, he said that I will resign. I will leave the political arena. Why? Because of the result of the election is too
much.
I mean,
Yeah, too much.
I was 아니 무섭다 그랬어요. 무섭다. I was afraid. I was scared by the result, and he went to CSIS to the states.
Oh, right.
That's very strange. I was in Washington, and Bush the second, he was reelected, and at the party he introduced Karl Rove as the architect, and they exchanged the smile and smirk. And Karl Rove was the number one man. I mean, in his administration, Yang Jong-chul was the same kind of person in Moon administration. Instead of instead of having a good time in Korea, he was interviewing. His lips were shaking, shivering when he said that. 선거 결과가 너무 무서워서 전 정계를 은퇴하면. This is not comedy. It is real.
And he wasn't the only one. The party atmosphere was actually a little bit. They were
okay,
scared.
the second one. As the exit poll is announced, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. Wow! Then they proclaimed that 180 seats for the Democratic Party. At that time, the natural scene you are expecting is that wow, wow. But at that time, nobody smiled. Their face was like this.
It worked.
It was like, really? I mean, days ago, Yu Shimin said that we will win 180 seats.
Right.
And Lee Geun-young, he also afterwards he said that this is what I anticipated, 180 exact. And now 180 for our party. Nobody smiled. So there's a picture. I gave it to my American friends, and he said that this is the magic of the camera. He was not believing. He didn't believe. After 1 second, they all smiled. So, okay, that's a good question. I was a TV guy. So, see, not the photograph. See the videos. Nobody smiles. So nobody laughs.
Can I just ask a more general question out of this little, coming back to Trump, because you mentioned clearly that you're using the Trump slogan, hoping to attract attention from Trump. You also mentioned about the risk of North Korea. We know that Donald Trump wants to talk to North Korea. He exchanged a letter with Kim Jong-un. He's also mentioned about withdrawing US troops from Korea. So, do you believe Trump? How do you expect the future of the US-ROC alliance under Donald Trump?
Good question. Do you think Trump is a close friend of Kim Jong-un?
I don't know, but
no, he's not. Kim Jong-un was a toy for Trump. He can treat him the best in the world. Among the world leaders. He can manipulate him. He can influence him. It's not that, I don't think there are people in Korea also that, if Trump becomes the president of the United States again, then we will be outsider. I don't believe that. Trump hated Moon Jae-in so much.
Yes.
He hated Moon Jae-in so much, so he tried to exclude him. That's what I understand. I know the story. When he became the candidate of Democratic Party, Moon Jae-in said that he would not allow the American troop to set a fad in Korea. And Trump was so angry that he said, okay, how much does it cost to, 그 뭐라 그러지? 배치함도 뭐라 그래요?
Okay, but today I'm talking about the future, not Moon Jae-in. Are you in favor of talking to North Korea, like Donald Trump mentioned during his campaign? Because what we hear from your supporters in the street is that they say we should never talk to North Korea. So we're trying to reconcile the support to Trump.
They can talk forever. They can talk, for the good fruit. Good results. Why not? That's the.
I have an explanation.
Yes, please.
Okay, Trump has been very good at making strategies. So he had a good relationship with Putin. The reason is that then the Democratic Party, the Democrats in the US, American, and then was not happy about it. And then Trump answered, then there are two bullies. Okay, do you want the two bullies to get alliance? I want to make a closer friends. I want to disconnect the alliance between the two bullies. That was his strategy, his answer. Like that, he did not want to North Korea to get closer relationship with China. He tried to cut the connection between North Korea and Russia, and North Korea and China. That was his strategy. So he treated Kim Jong-un rather well, but he was like fake. He did not really love him anything, but he always good at exaggeration of his rhetoric. And also, I have one more thing. Then you answered, you asked him why then Yoon Suk-yeol has been waiting such a moment, not immediately after his
inauguration.
Why December
Why he
3rd?
has waited
Why that
because,
date?
Because you know that in the US that Biden has been accused by Trump that he stole the election. So Trump really made Biden had this trauma of this election fraud, right? So if Yoon Suk-yeol talk about election fraud from the start, then he would not have a good relationship with Biden.
Okay, now the thing is
that ruin
that explanation will persuade conservative Americans who like Trump.
Exactly.
But as you know, and as Mr. Min I'm sure knows very well because you were in Washington, the Beltway, the blob, the
swing states?
Yeah, no, the blob, the foreign policy elite, the materialistic elite in America, the corporate media prefer the Minju Party, as you know. And you saw Time magazine praising Moon Jae-in to the skies, praising Lee Jae-myung is the man who wants to heal Korea. The saint Lee Jae-myung. These are the people who you have to persuade now. You don't have to persuade the Trump people. I think they will understand what's going on. If you emphasize, the fake and the stop the steal, that was brilliant. I mean, using those signs in Hanamdong is genius. That's a 신의 한 수. That's very clever. But you've still got to face the corporate media, the New York Times, the Washington Post, the Wall Street Journal, which prefer Lee Jae-myung. Why? Because the State Department, the Kungmubu, like Donald Trump, wants to improve relations with North Korea. Okay? And this is what they're worried about now is that Yoon Suk-yeol, maybe he is this anti-communist warmonger who's going to cause problems. And this is
you call him warmonger?
Wait, I'm not making. 제가 말씀드린 것이 아니라.
Okay.
This is the frame that the Lee Jae-myung and the American corporate media are trying to put Yoon into. The frame of the Pangong, 전쟁관. And therefore, these are also issues that you need strategically, I think, to address if you want to get the American mainstream media on your side. Maybe you don't need to. As Elon Musk says, we are the media now. Sorry, journalists. We are the media. And I think a better strategy may be for you guys just to go onto social media, to go onto X, to make your case there. But I'm just saying, if you want to convince the foreign policy elite in America, you're going to need to, I think, make more of an effort to argue that martial law was needed. Because 그 미국 진보가 신성시하는 것은 그 기관들, the American, they don't care how corrupt the election system is. They believe that these things are sacred and that no president should touch them. And you're going to need to make more efforts to argue that martial law was necessary. It's not enough to convince the American conservatives and the people who voted for Trump. You're going to need to work, I think, a little bit harder to get this is from a strategic, you know what I mean? I mean, I must say I'm sympathetic. I read enough about this. You said something when you were on, I think it was Kamoseru Yongbuso, years ago, that was very impressive. And you said, like, if 1,000 people voted in the Kwanne,
yes,
and then 130. Yeah, can you say that again?
139.
Can you say that again?
Yes, that's okay.
Because that was really impressive.
In my district, there is I won. The day voting, I won 6,000 votes. But in early voting, the election day voting is this much. And early voting is this much. I won 300. Okay. 3,000 votes here. So proportionally, I should have won 1,500. I mean, 1,500, then it's natural. But I won 3,000 here. I lost 6,000 here. That's unnatural. So I look into the numbers here. Early voting.
Sorry,
no problem.
Apologies.
Oh,
Thank you
wow.
for organizing this. See you again. Thank you.
Okay, bye-bye. So I looked into the numbers of this early voting, and there were 3 candidates. So there's 2 ways of early voting: in district, out of district.
Right.
In district is this much, and out of district is this much, and these are mainly the soldiers. Okay, we understand. Okay, so I looked into the numbers, and every 100, I mean, when every 100 votes from in district, 39 soldiers voted for me.
Yeah.
Well, that's a happenstance, so to speak.
Coincidence?
No, happenstance. And the other guy, I looked into his numbers, same, 139. Every 139 soldiers voted for him. This is coincidence. And there was 3rd candidate, and her number was the same, 139. Every 100 in district early voting, 39 soldiers voted for her. So 139. And what's the possibility of this will happen?
Yeah.
Is that the renowned statistician Professor Park Seong-hyun from Seoul National Assembly, he said that there can be 2 cases. One, God did that.
Yeah.
Second, 100% manipulation.
Right.
That means 100% manipulation. God is so busy, so he won't, go there and do this manipulation.
Right, and let me just say, and he was not the only statistician, also Park Young-ah. Park Young-ah did these histograms. And she said it's like if you throw up 1,000 coins and they all land on
the same side.
What year? Yeah, that's Park Young-ah.
Sorry, Mr. Min, what year? What you just said.
Yes, 2020. No? Yes, 2020.
The 2020 then.
There is a very interesting point. I can explain. You watched this Napoli.
Yes.
Chinese, when Chinese vote, they did not vote.
They don't vote.
Yeah, like this.
Oh, it goes.
Okay.
Wow.
That's a bit of that.
So this.
I assume the
We won't make that mistake next time.
primary is Chinese.
I wanna ask a question in Korean. 그 이거는 지난번 2016년 대선 때,
당선됐을 때.
네, 2016년 때 그때 정일영 후보죠 민주당.
2016년 제가 당선됐을 때.
2020년.
2020년.
그때 표창 한 2%밖에 안 되셨죠. 네.
2,980.
제가 기억하기에 그때 한 표창 전국 선거구 표창 3% 안에 있는 선거구 한 15개 정도, 20개 정도 있어요. 그러면 같은 문제가 과연 뭐 다른 같이 싸우는 그런 국회의원 후보가 과연 없었을까요?
그거예요? 아니면
네.
이게 그거 없어요?
전혀 없어요?
없어요. 왜냐하면 그 이유는
네.
프레임에 갇히기 때문이에요.
네.
프레임에 갇힌다는 거는 선거 불복. They don't accept the result of the election. He's the bad guy. Politician as a politician, that's a big stigma. So they won't say anything. But I'm a crazy person, who, woke up and, stood up against those evils. Nobody fought with me. And they prepared for the next election. And next election was the same. Same. Yeah.
At that time, 23 candidates applied or should, but they gave up. Because of commission, election commissioner's threat. If you do give up this should, we
make sure that you will win next in next election.
Sorry, the MPs said that to sitting politicians.
The violation of the political law, the electoral commission said we will sue you, by this law, which is called political.
Well, now they're introducing this. Now they're introducing a law where you get punished if
One more time.
And I have the second question.
Before we get
my
say that again, please, because we got just
23 candidates.
20. When was this?
2020.
2020. Please go ahead.
At that time, they applied the lawsuit, but they gave up because election commissions threat them. If you do not give up, we violation.
Say that again.
Yeah.
If
you don't give
election commission, they threatened those 23
losing candidates.
who lost their votes, and we're gonna sue you if you don't give up on this lawsuit, because we will sue you under the law that is called the political law. There is a law for politicians, so we're gonna sue you that you violated this law.
Me was investigated by Seoul police.
And one thing that I want to add, the influence of this pro-China is not only political arena. It's spread out to police and media. That's why media, they all they are not for us. They're not on our side. They are totally other side. Actually, they control this puppet. So they always choose who they like, who's going to be next president, and then they manipulate public opinion. And if they decide that they're going to deserve this the president, then they're going to just manipulate all the news. So we cannot. So I don't believe that President Yu was not very sociable and he did not communicate. I don't think so. Well, for my as for my intuition, I think he loves people. So he's like somebody that I can talk, with open heart. That was how he was portrayed before the election. But from such a point, You know, all the news on the media was just like, just criticizing him, just sending out all this, fake news that I can't believe. And look at the news right now. I think it's the same thing in CNN or is. So I don't actually watch the news on the, on television. I watch this. So another, factor that we have to be reminded of, this pro-China influence is on our judicial system, is on our media because they have been bribed. They receive a lot of money, a lot of funds from China, and then it's also on police station, in policemen. That's why they could the corruption ministry, the corruption office, they could gather there's millions of policemen to arrest our president illegally.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Only brave one is me.
Just to confirm, sorry, this earlier point that we got 23 losing candidates asked for an investigation into the NEC?
Yes.
And when the NEC said, we'll sue you, they all okay. They all ran away.
Yes.
Not NEC.
No, I think they claimed.
that NEC, right.
I don't think they asked for I think they claimed
They were
fraud
threatened.
in
They
their.
were threatened.
By
Kuri candidate is my fellows. I was in the parliamentary 부정선거.
I was deputy
Speaker is my fellow.
Yeah.
But he said to me, is the election commission threatened me, so I gave up the Russian.
So I gave up.
Gave up?
They gave up the lawsuit.
And Eunpyeong
Lawsuit.
even 홍인정 said to me,
Same.
he gave up because of the election commission threat.
Yeah, sorry. So now that we've had martial law, we've got a massive political crisis, and you guys are a state. Where are these 23 candidates now? Why aren't they
Because
speaking?
4 years ago,
Yeah.
4 years ago, that could be one reason, because they were threatened.
Yeah.
That's true. I mean, that's a fact.
Right.
But there's a money problem also. They have to pay the money for the lawsuit.
Yeah.
I paid myself. That's a big amount of money. And money, the threat of the election commission, and third, the frame of that this candidate doesn't accept the result of the election. He is the problem maker. He doesn't accept that he lost. That's the frame that the politicians hate the most. So they are afraid. Even Nagyongwon herself, my friend, I tried to persuade her,
Right.
but she didn't. She did. Just 4 years wait, then I'll become a member of the National Assembly again.
Yeah.
So I won't take the risk of being, framed.
Yeah.
So there are,
But now we're talking about it, right? I mean, Nagyongwon and Kim Min-jung,
Kim
Yeah.
they're
now talking about.
Na never talks about it.
Really?
Na never talks about it.
Oh, but
Kim Min-jung talks. Yes.
Okay.
Kim Min-jung is proportional.
Right,
She's proportional.
right. And she's got the freedom to talk about
She
it.
has a professor.
I'm going to have my second question.
Yeah.
Because I've been covering the general election for 3 times in my journalist life, from 2016 till this time, and I found that during 2020, before the election, there were already some suspicions saying that the early vote might be cheating, so be careful about that. You can see that on the YouTube, indeed, those conservative YouTube. But 2024, I directly saw Han Dong-moon, the party leader, saying that whatever is early vote or the Wednesday, the formal vote, just go out and vote. If everybody comes out for voting, we will definitely win.
I
Why?
would say Han Dong-won was a Trojan horse.
So I was curious is that why the attitude is like different, such difference
Because they don't
between
know.
these two. Actions.
Because he didn't know. That's my. Yeah, I'm too generous for him. He was stupid. I mean, he was stupid. He didn't know that the early voting and the election voting results should be similar. That's the law of big numbers. Law of 빙하, 대수법. So according to that law, the pre-voting and the election day voting should be similar. But it was so different. 10% discrepancy for 5 years, for many elections, 2020, 2024, and even slightly in 2016. And the recipient of this advantage was always the Democratic candidates. There are 425 dongs, the dong, 그걸 뭐라 그러죠? 그 행정구역을 districts in Seoul area, Seoul metropolitan. In 420 out of 425, no PPP candidates was advantageous. They lost. They 425, and in Gyeonggi-do 599 districts. Without any exception, 10% discrepancy, and the advantage went to the Democratic Party candidates without one exception. This is a law of mathematics. This is too strange. This is the law, mathematical law. So he has, the Reverend Professor should have, many things to talk about this. And, we are into this, aspects, the proofs and evidences for 5 years. So I can answer.
Is your assumption, it may be obvious from this what the answer is, but I wondered, is your assumption that if there's external manipulation from, say, Chinese Communist Party or whoever it is, that the objective is to sow discord, which means to create fighting, or is it for specific people to win?
Yes. Lee Jae-myung likes China. Yes, puppets, to make puppets. Puppet country, Korea, as their puppets. They did it for 5,000 years. China, as for China. Last decades or so was the only time we were more prosperous. We were, out of their influence. They tried to do that for 5,000 years. So, without firing or, invading, they can have us as their puppet. If Lee Jae-myung becomes the president of the Korea, South Korea, and he'll be very, very, agreeable to Xi Jinping.
Yeah.
That's what I think.
That's the objective.
Yes, that's the objective.
Do you think this all started in 2020? And
Pardon?
if so, do you think this all illegal fraud, this voting, all this
2020 and 2024.
Why 2020, do you think? Why wasn't it before? Why did China think it's now starting to 2020?
Why not before 2020? He said that there was a small tint of manipulation even in 2016 elections. Okay.
But are you only investigating 2020, or have you looked?
Because I lost
Right,
the
because
2020.
you're looking at 2020, but were there people in 2016 who lost and who have come out with this?
Nobody did that because they didn't have the gist. They didn't know,
But you think it started from 2016? You too?
Some of my colleagues, they say that they studied and the statistics, and they have the tint of manipulation also, but not as big scale as in 2020 and 2024.
I think the problem was in 2020 and in 2024 was that everybody was expecting the Kukimdan to lose anyway.
Yeah.
You think so?
Yeah. The general expectation was it was going to lose. Of course, it lost bigger than we expected, but people are not so shocked when the loss is bigger than the one you expected.
But
if we expected the Kukimdan to win and then it lost, I think people would have been more shocked.
Well, yeah, you might have thought so because of the result of public opinion.
Right.
I mean,
The polls.
polls.
Right. Which were strange.
There was Jo Jung-dong.
That's true.
No. There was a noise in that poll starts. I mean, poll results.
Right.
They are doing that on purpose.
To prepare for the...
Yes, you know, I won 10 여론조사 public polls, 10 polls. 10, out of 10, there was one result which says that we were close. This is a noise, not the legitimate and 정확한, accurate result. But they are doing this for the result of that, you know, the fraud.
Right.
Because this is so strange. We all say that. Hey, wait, there was a poll result which anticipated that she will be, you know, the neck and neck race.
Pollsters were important.
Yes, so pollsters, they became the part of these election fraud. That's what I mean,
Not that poll.
I think so.
Yeah.
Many people.
It worked. It worked. I mean,
It worked. There are noise, always a noise. Oat flour run by Kim Ho-jun.
oh yeah.
He's doing this.
Sure.
And he's earning lots of money. And 90%, more than 90% of the poll stars, they are leftists in Korea.
Yeah. This
Yes, you look at this.
What's in election machinery? Libya,
Chinese
Congo,
voting
Kyrgyzstan.
club,
Yeah.
voting county club. Yes, 응애응애 최초초 왕수견 they are Chinese.
Oh, these names, you don't,
Last names, we don't have that
Yeah.
last names in Korea. They are Chinese.
이거 영어로 좀 해주세요. 우리가 왜 이 중국인들을 쓰냐?
Why do they hire these Chinese people?
예, 하기를 했는데
And
선관위는
protested.
오히려 중국인이 더 객관적이에요.
아까 얘기했을 때.
The answer from the election commission was Chinese can be more neutral than
Yes,
Korean.
yeah.
선관위 그리고 이거는 이번 작년 4월 6일 날 제가 서울 선관위에서 감시 활동을 하러 갔을 때
So last general election when I went to, on April 6th, I went there to oversee.
I found Huawei Wi-Fi. No. Huawei Wi-Fi.
Yeah.
Yes.
They're using IT
Yes.
Yeah.
I know what it
gadgets.
is, but yeah.
And
We don't have here. Huawei, no, but only there.
yes, garbage files.
Yeah.
Holding
There
posts.
was counterfeit passport. 80,000 pieces.
So 18,000.
Maybe we think. I think this is used for manipulation.
Oh.
Yes.
Sorry, what?
Yes.
Could you explain?
In the
This is your ID?
하드 외장 하드에
hard
18,000개의 그 여권 파일이 있었다.
And on in a hard disk there were 18,000 files of passport. 18,000 passports.
Yes. 이 선관위 그 국정원 보안정보내가 비밀번호 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Yeah, the passport was 1, 2, 5.
Sorry, could you just slow down a little bit, please? These passports files were found in a
시흥.
경기도
시흥 아파트
in a CU.
아파트에 그 재활용 분류센터에
18,000
Recycle
Yeah.
box, they found a hard disk
Yes.
that contains 18,000, files of passport, but
Yeah.
that was counterfeit.
it's
Okay, and sorry, what's the relation of that to elections?
Okay, so I can explain.
So maybe there was kind of evidence that they, brought Chinese illegally.
Yes, and
to help this election.
Koreans 이거 좀 해석해 주세요. 무선망
And there was
와이어리스
사전투표 무슨 말?
네, 화이입니다. 이거 좀 얘기 좀 해주세요. 사전투표에 그 무선망을 쓰는데 그게 화웨이 장비였다라고 얘기를 좀 해주시죠.
그러니까 아까 그 인터넷에
예, 예,
보던 게.
예, 예.
So the reply from the election commission was they need to.
EA 오류율이 10%에 해당. EA 오류율이 10%에 해당.
But there is a 10% of error in that for the machine.
사실 1000만 명이 하면은 100만 명이 이상이 있다라고 얘기하는 정도의 수치입니다.
So if, for example, if we say that there's a 10 million voter,
Yeah.
그런데 실제
10% error.
실내 사전 투표에서는 그런 보고가 거의 없습니다. 실제 사전 투표에서는 그런 보고 오류가 있다는 보고가 거의 없습니다.
But for early voting, but there is no report, no such report that there is a discrepancy between the 10% of error. Do you understand? I'm trying to understand.
There is no report about
You found this, but no one else knows
예,
it.
예.
Okay.
그런데 사전 투표에서는 여러 가지 이제 there are many manipulation methods. 중복 투표, 이중 투표를 하는 경우도 있습니다. 더블.
There is a 더블 투표가 나오는데.
네, 두 번, 세 번 투표를 할 수 있다는 얘기를 말씀해 주세요. 한 명이 여러 명이 주소.
They can one person, but for early voting,
Yeah.
they say that one person can vote 2 or 3 times.
Multiple times.
Yes.
Because of this machine.
본인 확인기를 꺼버리면.
Because if they turn off this self-identification machine, they can vote many times.
조작된
So you turn it off for power saving, and then you turn it back on.
조작된 그 신분증을 넣어서.
They can use this manipulated identification.
Okay. False
그래서
identification.
사전 투표소를 부풀리기를 하는 거예요.
So they multiply the votings for early votings.
Yeah.
Okay, you understand?
Yes. And you are suggesting
and
those
you
false passports were used in this machine.
그래서 아까 그 자꾸 이제 그거 물어보시는 건데 그 여권 있잖아요 아까 그 18,000원 그 여권을 그런 데다가 사용.
그렇지.
Yeah, that is right.
네, that's the point. 그리고 그걸 좀 증명할 수 있는 방법이 있는데.
Well, that's what the question I've been trying to ask for half an hour.
Identity verification device.
ID verification.
부천시 신중동.
Just a question
Before you go into the detail, this is a very important question. You know that in the in Congo, in Iraq, in Kyrgyzstan, I think in Libya, and DR Congo, right? They used Korean electoral machines, and they discovered there's huge problems with it. Do you use the same machines that were exported, or is it a different one?
Oh, really?
Oh, okay.
Different ones.
So there's no connection.
The logic could be the same, similar.
Yeah.
And I'm asserting that they are exporting the device for autocracy for the underdeveloping countries.
Yes, yeah.
That's what I'm quite sure. They are selling those machines and they receive money in Korea from ODA through Koika.
Yes, yes.
They are selling those machines and they protest and there's a riot in those
countries. Yes, that's right.
The machine for counting. You said this. DR Congo and Kyrgyzstan, Iraq is for counting machine.
Okay, this is the identification.
At the time, 아까 제가 말했던 것은 투표를 하기 위한 투표용 조작기입니다. 전자기기는 카운팅용 기구다.
The machine that you were talking about,
Yes.
Congo, that was in a counting machine, ballot counting machine.
Yeah.
But
아까
선거에
그 투표용.
the file that was manipulated, 18,000 files were used for early voting because they don't check ID verification device. They don't have it for early voting.
You know, just one thing, just as to lighten the mood. After I started talking with Professor Yoon, and then he came back and said, "Would you like to meet?"
Yes.
This was maybe over 2 days or something. I got a WhatsApp message in Korean saying from a number I didn't recognise, saying, "Would you like to talk?"
Oh yeah.
And then so I googled the country code, and it was Congo. Did you get one?
Yeah, I'll show you.
It was Congo.
Just a minute.
And I thought
I got a message from someone too, and I had no idea.
country code 234 or something. Yeah.
I think I may have deleted it.
Crazy person.
What was the country?
last year's
What was the number?
some Koreans founded 저희 성남시에 있는 그 공장에서 홍보 대선 투표지를 만드는 것을 현장에서 발견한 사람이 있다.
There's a witness saying that they found like in a ballot,
South Africa.
Ballot in Songnam City, but for Congo voting.
They found ballots, empty ballots.
Empty ballots.
The Congo votes in Songnam.
In Songnam City.
And it's a very interesting story. Is in the point of martial law's 수원 선거 연수원 얘기 중에서 선거 연수원에
Yeah, training center for.
at that time is 가나의 대선 사전 투표입니다.
There was the day that only voting for Ghana.
For Ghana?
Yeah.
In West Africa?
선관위 공무원 말고 민간인이 있었는데 그때 현장에서 선관위 공무원 외에 민간인이 있었는데 그들의 정체에 대해서 궁금해 여깁니다.
When the martial law was played, December 3rd, in Suwon, and in training center for election commission, there was civilians, not officials, but there was a day before only voting for Ghana. So people are wondering what these civilians were doing at the night at the training center for election commission.
그 선거연수원에서 5년 전에 그 4.15 총선 20일 전에 중국인 무증상 입국자가 거기에 방문을 전국 최초로 방문했는데 그들이 과연 거기서 무엇을 했는지.
Yeah, 4 years ago. Before our general election, about 20 days ago, 20 days before our general election, there were how many? 40? About 40 Chinese just sleeping and just staying there at the election training institute.
In Suwon? 20 days before the
general election.
Okay.
그러니까 대원군이 선관위를 방문한 선거연수원을 방문한 이유가 있었을 것인데.
So there must be a reason for this, martial troops to visit this, election training institute.
And the explanation was that they were getting training. 무슨 연수를 받고 있었다는 주장이 나왔죠.
Or they were in a job.
그건 말이 안 되는 얘기였지만 그런 주장을 했잖아요. 선거위가.
근데 민간인이 있었다는 거예요.
But the thing was they were not official. They were
Let me talk.
Sorry,
No. I'm sorry. These are 음모론이 뭐였죠? Conspiracy theory. We are not conspiracy theorists.
In fact,
So we are. So if we have to deal with things which is strongly substantiated.
Thank you.
Right.
So there are many evidences. So I know I know you are busy. There are some points I want to make,
please,
and which I know the best.
Okay.
나중에 우리가 인터넷 투표지. There is this Japanese flag ballot. Japanese flag ballot. We call it Japanese flag ballot. This is a stamp.
Yes,
you should be able to read, clearly what it says. 송도 이동 제6투표소 관리관행인. But you can't read anything here. So this was found when we recounted So I asked the explanation, asked for the explanation. And they say that, well, this is the new kind of stamp which doesn't need any inks. It's like a fountain pen. You can stamp 10,000 times without
reloading.
filling. Yes, and this is by mistake. You know, the guy who stamped, he didn't know that this was the that kind of stamp, so he put the ink. Then you can have these ballots. Number one, there's no ink. There's no ink in poll spots because they changed the stamps into this the automatic.
Oh, so they can doom
Yes.
to
So there's no
right.
there's a list of preparation, and this red ink is out of that preparation. I mean the list.
Ink pad.
Ink pad is not there, and this was found not one, not two, 1,000.
So this was one guy just going without reloading.
No.
A machine. All right.
This
fake excuse.
stamp
Yes.
doesn't need any ink.
Understood.
Okay, so there's no ink in the poll spot. There's no ink.
Right.
But this was found. I asked for the explanation, and the commission said that
It was
well, by mistake, he stamped the ink.
1,000 times.
That's not true because there's no ink.
In the polling station.
Polling station, there's no ink. Second, this is not 1, 2, 1,000
Yeah.
of more than 1,000. This Japanese flag, you know, this kind of
This design.
ballots.
Smudge.
Out of 10,000, no, out of 1,974.
So over half.
More, yeah, over half. And to do that, you have to do it for 6 hours. If he's not a blind, he couldn't do that for 6 hours. And he's not the only one there. His superior was here. And he, you know, if he keeps on doing this, what are you doing, man?
Yeah.
You know, and he just can throw it away and make another one. That's simple. But 1,000 these ballots were found when the recounting.
During recounting.
During the voting, if this thing happened, then everyone will
ask, what are you doing?
Yes, what are you doing?
Yeah.
So change this. But 1,000 out of 1,974 is not true. And this guy, the official, officer,
Yeah.
this officer, wow, then he wouldn't, lie and in Supreme Court. And he said that I didn't do this. I didn't make this kind of stupid mistakes. And if my subordinate did that, I could have seen. But I don't remember.
Right.
And if I did that, more than half was this, then the voters will protest and ask for change. But they didn't. And more than that, I myself made a full-page advertisement in 조선일보. If one of out of 1,000, if anyone comes and say that I saw this, then I'll give you $1 million.
$1 billion.
그러니까 $1 million죠? 100만, 1000만억, 10억이니까 10억.
1 billion Korean
One.
money.
Yeah.
1 billion Korean won.
Yeah.
Nobody
Yeah.
appeared. Nobody appeared.
Yeah.
So what this says is that they emptied all the ballots.
And they took
Yes, and they made it. And these are
This is a false ballot done later off-site.
right.
Right. With this just ding, ding,
Mhm.
ding, ding, ding.
They made a mistake because at that place they had the ink pen.
Yeah.
So this one is the strong evidence I used to explain. And for the public, Korean public, it is not easy to accept that there was a election fraud because of three things. One, this is not 60 years ago. Well, 60 years ago, 70 years ago, there was fraud, but at that time they bought these rubber shoes and makgeolli, and they bought these ballots. This is new era. How can one dare to do these kind of election crime? Well, this is the digital crime. Digital crime. They don't know that their ballots were stolen. We did it's not so difficult for the programmers. And all the counting machines are connected to one server in Korea, not in the States. Nobody else, nowhere else. In Korea, we are so much, developed countries in IT IT area, and all the counting machines are connected to one server. That's why they can do it so easily. That's digital crime. And the second one, if I say that there was a fraud, then they say there are so many people in the polling post. So you are saying that they are all the
conspirators.
Yeah,
Conspirators.
They're all in on it. Yeah.
Yes. The bad people? No. They don't know. It's through that lines and even the wireless communications. Even the 1 million people, they can't see it. So it's 최첨단이라는 건 뭐라고 해요? 최첨단.
State of the art.
State of the art digital crime. That's what it is. So it's hard for them to persuade them because they won't believe. It was a long time ago, not now. They cannot do this. And all the culprits, they all cooperate for this crime. That's not possible.
Right.
And no whistleblowers is not possible. So there can't be any election fraud. That's public's opinion, and it's very hard to break into.
Okay, it's getting very late, and then I think you wish to have thousands of questions, and then I would just like to make one brief comment that like these two heroes talked about election fraud, I myself was also started this talking about election fraud at the same time. And then when I talk about election fraud, all my colleagues treated me as Dorai. Okay? My students also were complaining, we respect you so much as a scientist and a well-renowned professor. How come you all of a sudden started talking about
bullshit
election fraud, which is all conspiracy? And then I had made so many enemies because of my talking about. And then I think if Yoon Suk-yeol started talking about election fraud right from the beginning, then he would be completely treated as a Dorai. But December 3rd, that was the last moment because he was in a very difficult situation. All his budget plans, everything. And also the Han Dong-un also is playing as a chosen horse. All kinds of political situation is getting worse and worse. And then even if he doesn't talk about this election fraud, he will be ousted by this group of people. So this was his last moment to gamble, to protect himself and to protect Korea as well. So this, and he met the president from Kyrgyzstan.
Yes.
And that day he did, because he got some information, and there were 90 some people staying in the education center of election commission. Yeah, they all summed up, and then that was the only chance for him to declare the martial law, I think.
So what's the connection with Kyrgyzstan, where they also had some election fraud issues? What did you learn from the president of Kyrgyzstan?
Kyrgyzstan. I had also some information from very close friends that somehow Kyrgyzstan president also informed some kind of information which I don't know yet. Yeah.
I think he was, there was election fraud in Kyrgyzstan, so he was elected at the first voting, but he was elected at the second voting.
Yes.
After they found that.
So there's a chance that he knows
something that we don't.
Election fraud, and we made 4 documentaries, and one of them is 34 minutes long, and it's in English.
Yes.
So all in one, in 34 minutes.
On YouTube?
Pardon?
It's on YouTube?
Yes, YouTube.
Oh, okay.
So if you watch that, you'll have the gist.
So we don't need to be here.
We're wasting our time.
That's why I didn't tell you at the first.
Getting late, and I guess you're all hungry.
Can I ask a very quick question? Can I ask a question that's completely different, and if you could answer quickly? I'm on a sort of a chat group with diplomats and political scientists and journalists and people, and there's a big discussion recently, and basically nobody knew the answer. What is the explanation for the Israeli flag?
Oh, exactly. Yes.
우리 이스라엘 기관이 사람들이 모였을 때, 우파들이 모였을 때 왜 나오느냐고 설명해 주실 수 있나요?
간단하게 설명해 주세요.
저는 비해과학자입니다.
I'm a
brain scientist.
brain scientist.
과학적인 방법으로 사건을 보면은 간단하게 보입니다.
Israel. If you look at from a scientific perspective, you can summarize it simply.
지금 한국과 이스라엘이 강소국인데 이스라엘은 미국과 혈맹의 수준에서 미국과 함께 세계를 움직이는 힘이 이스라엘에 있습니다.
And Israel and Korea both are small nations, but we are strong nations. For Israel, even though they are very small nation, but they have strong alliance with U.S. and then their power is strong.
하지만 한국은 미국에 체류하는 한국은 200만밖에 안 되고 이스라엘은 700만인데 미국을 움직이는데 지금 우리나라 상황은 중국이 벌이는 거대한 전쟁의 소용돌이 속에 있습니다.
So immigrants in the United States for Korean Americans there's only 1 million, but Israeli American there are Jewish 700, and they are actually moving the landscape of United States. For Korea
한국과 이스라엘이 지리적으로 중요한 위치에 있지만
and Korea and Israel geographically we are in a critical location.
Yes.
이스라엘은 중동 평화와 관련이 있고
and Israel has a connection with the peace between Middle East.
한국은 동북아의 평화와 관련이 있습니다.
And Korea has to do with the peace among these East Asian countries.
그렇지만 이스라엘은 미국과 혈맹이기 때문에 든든한 동맹 관계가 잘 유지되고 있습니다.
But Israel has very strong, alliance out of their blood, blood in alliance with Israel and United States.
한국은 김대중 노무현 정부를 지나면서 미국과 동맹 관계가 실질적으로 거의 다 파괴됐습니다.
But as for Korea, as we had former President Kim Dae-jung, Nomuyeon, who were leftists, and our alliance started to breaking up with United States.
미국 트럼프 정부는 지난번에도 한국과 관계가 끊어졌기 때문에 그러면 동북아에서 북한하고도 같이 협력을 하겠다는 그런 생각을 가졌죠.
So for President Trump, when he was president last term, because South Korea was not very Moon Jae-in was not very cooperative, with United States. So he chose actually it was his strategy to become close with North Korea.
한국은 70년대, 80년대까지 급성장한 나라입니다.
And Korea had a remarkable development, growth, economic growth in every sphere of society in 70s and 1980s.
동북아에서 가장 성공적인 나라로 부강한 나라로 발전했죠.
And Korea has developed one of the strongest, countries in East Asia.
그런데 2000년, 2010년, 2000년대가 넘어오면서 중국이 다시 급성장하기 시작했습니다.
But after 2010, China had remarkable growth.
그래서 중국은 중국몽, Chinese Dream을 생각을 하고 전 세계의 패권 국가로 급성장하게 된 겁니다.
So China, had a Chinese dream, and they ended up just growing as one of the powerful countries in all of the world.
그래서 중국은 초한전 Unrestricted Warfare. 초한전이라는 책을 1999년도에 출간을 하면서 후발 국가가 미국을 이기는 전략을 세웠습니다.
So they published a book that was called Unrestricted Warfare in 1999. And then they came up with a strategy how to become the most powerful nations. Yes.
지금 전 세계는 중국이 벌이는 초한전의 소용돌이 속에 갇혀 있습니다.
So I think globally the whole nation all over the world that we are in this this unrestricted warfare performed by China.
Okay.
1차 대전, 2차 대전이나 6.25 때처럼 전선이 없습니다.
And there is no physical war zone like in the First and Second War.
군인들이 군복 입은 군인들이 보이지 않습니다.
There is no soldiers in uniforms.
그렇지만 그들이 모든 군대를 이기고
But they control all the military.
이길 수 있는 전략 중에 대표적으로 세 가지가 있는데
There are three strategies that they can win over this battle.
심리전, 여론전, 법률전입니다.
First, psychological warfare, and then public opinion warfare, and then 세 번째가
법률전.
and then law warfare. Lawfare. Yeah.
잘 아시지만은 심리전은
And
This is too long. This is too long. No. This is too long.
5분은
무슨 지금 제가 이거 잠깐만 아니 지금 교수가 관련이 없는 말씀하지 마세요. 네, please.
Is this very, very
It's okay. We have no time.
괜찮습니다. Israel flag 때문에.
이스라엘 플래그 때문에.
그래서 우리가 중국의 전략에 넘어가서 어려움을 당하는데 부정선거와 관련해서 왜 부정선거를 만드느냐?
why do they make this election fraud? Why do they
그거는 법률전에 해당하는 것으로서
that has to do with legal part.
국회 의석을 장악을 하게 되면
This is to control the constitutional seats.
한국의 모든 정책을 합법적으로 법률전에 속해서 합법적으로 공산주의로 바꿀 수 있기
They
때문에
can change administration to socialism.
그런데
It's okay.
오케이. 그렇기 때문에 지금은 우리가 힘이 약하기 때문에 이스라엘과 힘을 같이 합력을 해서 중국과 동맹을 회복하기 때문에 그 생각을 가진 사람들이 이스라엘 깃발 들고 같이 나오는 거죠.
And as for me, I'm involved in this relationship with Israel. And we, especially Koreans, mostly Korean Christian, they come out with this Israel flag because we have a mission to bless this Israel. That's why
that last point, finish. We have a mission to
bless Israel and to preach the gospel to Israel. That
with a mission to bless Israel.
그리고 내가 이 모임에도 얘기했는데
To preach the
나한테
gospel to
발언 안
Israel.
들고
부정선거에 대해서 얘기하세요. 부정선거에 대해서. 부정 숟가락질 하고 좀 마시고 부정선거에 대해서 얘기하시라고.
그 내가 들은 부정선거예요. 부정선거의 목적이 뭔데? 의석 확보인데.
이스라엘의 인구가 이스라엘.
부정선거의 주체를 중국이에요.
개최하신 거예요?
That's okay.
그렇게 하신 거예요? 몰라요. 솔직하게 하신 거예요?
하나만 더.
아니, 전부터 같이 기획했어요.
아니 그러니까 그래서 이걸 만드신 거예요?
그럼요.
아 그래요? 오 그래요?
그렇기 때문에 내가 이게 부정선거의 배경으로서 이 책을 내가 일부러 만들어 온 거예요. 이걸
This is a
우리가
famous book.
Oh, he knows it. Yeah,
This
I
is
know
the
it.
Bible of hybrid.
So all this election has to be.
매너가 있을 사람이 저렇게 매너가 없어.
뭐라고요?
매너가 없다고 그랬어요.
Please.
하나만
Sure, please.
개업이 왜 일어났는지에 대해서 제가 정확하게 한번.
Why did he, declare martial law?
Right.
이게 아까 설명했다시피 선관위원장이 모두 판사입니다. 그리고 중앙선관위원장은 대법관입니다.
They are all judges in election commission. Yes.
이게 2021년 5월달에 법원 투표함을 보관하고 나서 찍은 사진입니다.
This is a picture, after 뭐를
2020년 5월달에
Yeah.
증거 보존 절차를 위해서 투표함을 봉인하고 찍은 사진입니다. 이게 본인들.
이게 문이잖아요. 그죠? 이 룸 안에
그 안에 저 ballot box.
Yeah, this is the picture of the room and the room key where the ballot boxes were,
stored.
Stored. They were stored.
이게 2021년 8월달에 저희가 재검표를 위해서 열었던 사진입니다.
And this is the picture from
지금 사진.
August 2021 and for recounting.
도장 위치랑 테이프 위치랑 다른 거를
So do
확인하시면
you see the location of the stamp is changed? This was, from May, and that picture was from April. So do you see the difference?
This says cover, that does not have a cover.
2020년 5월, 2021년 8월.
That's May of 2021, and this is August of 2021.
부정선거를 저지른 자들은 법원에 있는 증거 보존된 투표함도 바꿀 수 있는 사람들입니다.
And those who did the election fraud, they can also change this ballot box.
이게 서울 남부지방법원, 목동에 있는 남부지방법원에 있었던 일입니다.
This is what happened in. This was what was reported in the court in Seoul Nambu.
네, 이거는 이제 경기 고양지원에서 스카이데일리의 허경 기자가 선관위가 투표 용지를 빼돌린다라는 장면을 녹취해가지고 기사화한 것입니다.
And this was an article from Sky Daily that one of the officials saying that the electoral commission they they take out the original ballot and then they change it to what they have.
There is witness. There were witness. 예. 그런데 아무도 문제 삼을 수 없었습니다.
Nobody could raise the issues.
그러니까 그만큼 부정선거 가르텔은 법원과 유착관계가 엄청나게 심합니다.
So this signifies that there is a strong, alliance or cohesion between this, this election fraud and then election commission.
예, 빅 카르텔.
그리고 there's a big cartel between. Yes.
아까 설명했다시피 한국산 전자개표기가 세계 각 나라의 부정선거를 일으켰습니다.
So the machines, both counting machines that we exported to each nation caused a lot of trouble to each nation.
이것은 우리나라에서 외교적으로 심각한 문제가 될 수 있습니다.
This can be a serious problem for Korea diplomatic, relations.
외교를 중시하는 윤 대통령 입장에서 이런 과학을 놔주면은 앞으로도 우리 대한민국이 정말 문제가 될 수 있다는 판단을 했을 수도 있습니다.
President Yoon, he takes seriously about the diplomatic relations.
Yeah.
So if he keeps silent about this issue, then this can just lead into really turmoil, diplomatic or foreign relations turmoil.
그 바이든이 있을 때는 어쩔 수 없이 그 부정선거 얘기를 하기 어려웠지만 트럼프가 당선된 이후에는 이러한 문제를 본격적으로 제기했을 수 있습니다.
When Biden was, while Biden was in presidency, it was not easy for him to raise these, issues. But now, as he terminated his, presidency, now he felt like he could raise this issue globally.
그러니까 한국은 부정선거의 진실 고백을 음모론으로 하는데 그만큼 거대한 카르텔이 존재하고 있고 이것을 깨는 유일한 방법이 비상계엄이 있을 수 있습니다.
So for Korean in general, they think this election fraud, they take it as a conspiracy theory because there are strong alliance and cartel between these election commissions and all other parts like media and so maybe because of this martial law was really necessary. That was the only way to really expose this.
Yeah, I would like to mention Korea is not only good at shipbuilding and semiconductor industry, but also election fraud business.
You should be proud.
Yeah, we should be proud.
There's a terminology like a K-voting, like a K-drama, web, K-voting. They are exporting.
Yeah, so
Many Koreans after martial laws, they realize there will be manipulation.
Young generation nowadays are waking up, and then they all talk about they are aware of this election fraud. So they respect Yoon Song-yeol so much, and then the approval rate from this MZ generation is soaring, it's rocket soaring, and they all come to Gwanghwamun and the Hangnam-dong everywhere nowadays. And then they make YouTubes. Yeah, that is a good sign of this positive effect of martial law. So I think it's rather optimistic, although we still have a little bit of a difficult period. But if we can endure this period, then finally Yoon Song-yeol will become one of these great presidents in Korea, like Lee Sung-man, Park Chung-hee, and then Yoon Song-yeol, because we call this a second liberation war, and we call this a second Korean war, and he made the second Incheon landing. Yeah, because all Korea was under the control of this communist, but now he made this dramatic bomb shelling into Incheon was such to make his a dramatic change.
I know it's domestic politics, but are you hoping that Donald Trump, after he goes into office, will somehow help?
Yeah, he certainly help because Elon Musk is his right arm, and he is paying very serious attention to this election.
Sorry, say that again. Elon Musk.
Elon Musk, he is a right arm of nowadays. He's more powerful than this vice president. So he is paying attention on X. Every moment we have some event, he comments and he says wow, and then he is paying attention, very keen attention to.
You don't know that?
He's paying very keen attention to
our the progress of the young people are rushing into the streets to protect Yoon Song-yeol. He is looking at this, paying attention to.
He's paying to Korean news or to
what you? Korean.
There was this picture of that on Twitter or something.
That's what wow. So you're not putting things on Twitter.
We are doing that. He's answering.
He's answering your stuff.
No, not mine, but the Korean.
He said wow.
Wow.
It was on Korean news.
I'll look it up on Elon Musk's X account.
Another thing, Steve Bannon.
It's not easy to find, but I have.
Yes.
Steve Bannon also this morning talked with one of the regime.
Sorry, Steve Bannon this morning.
Yeah, he had an interview with the Korean power. from some Korean town,
the Korean reporter,
American reporter in Korea, and then he presented very nicely about the real situation that's going on here in South Korea. Especially, he mentioned that the news media, the legacy media, are not paying attention to this anti-impeachment or pro-윤석열 activity. So all this legacy media is protecting, I mean, it's like helping this Jo Jung-dong and then KBS, MBC, JTBC, SBS are all there trying to help this impeachment the groups.
Okay, we done with questions?
Yeah, I think it's already 7 o'clock.
Yeah, so let me just say thank you very much for this.
I hope that you was observed enough evidence and this. So if necessary, we will think about the next session.
Well, let me just say that thank you very much for your time. We appreciate it very much.
Thank you for your time.
And the foreign press. I mean, I'm not foreign press anymore. I'm a kind of Korean columnist. But the foreign press, you should not see them as a kind of a body. They're kind of individuals. So I mean, these guys may contact you again. But that's the best way to conceive of it. As Andy mentioned, if there's an opportunity to do something at the press club,
you get a much bigger.
I think your role are very important because especially Andy, for example, because so many people talk about the Korean political crisis, but they do not touch the essence, from my opinion. But if you really touch this election fraud, that is the center of all this political crisis. So I think I wish you to be brave enough and to touch this, although this might be against the policy of your company.
Yes, not at all. Not at all.
If not, then please.
We're objective media.
This is not the problem of Korea only. This is worldwide.
Gaby, I quoted you extensively of the second day after impeachment. Right.
No, but as Andy said just now, we have the Seoul Foreign Correspondents Club, and so after this dies down a bit, I think now is not the right timing. But 이게 조금 조용해지고 이렇게 하면 외신기자 클럽 차원에서 우리가 한번 오셔가지고 하시는 것도 좋을 것 같아요.
그래서 한번 했었어요.
이 엘렉션 처음에서. 네, 근데 이번에 내용을 연결해서
그러니까 지금은 또 관심이 높아졌어요.
선거에 대해서 이렇게 하셨는지 해가지고 요거만 해가지고 하고 그때는 조금 관심이 있을 수
좀 많이 좀 해주시고
우리 외신기자 클럽에서 왔어요.
전에도 거기서 했었어요.
네.
But if you come to the club, you talk for 30 minutes. You've got to really simplify, because I'm getting lost in the detail.
34 minutes documentary.
You've got
English.
I'm going to look it up.
Yes.
But this was great. You've done work for years, but to get this message across, I'm not being a political advisor. Simplify it, because you haven't got time to get into all that detail if you speak to the club.
And if they can link it somehow to Trump, I think it'll work too with him.
Yeah, so think of it when there's a next development, this saga is like this,
Within 10 days, there will be a dramatic development in this situation.
Oh, within 10 days?
Yeah, but we can't say that, but
Well, you just said it, so I mean.
But, I didn't say what.
You're on the record here.
I think the president will make an announcement about, maybe make a report from this election fraud investigation.
Oh, on this investigation, there'll be a major announcement.
I mean, investigation is done, maybe. I think, and then he will make an official announcement about the result.
Within, latest
That's
within
my
a week.
prediction. based on my human.
Wait, sorry, but who's going to make an announcement?
No further. No further.
No, we will write it.
In 10 days,
Thank you all.
something
Thank you.
Well, actually, I've learned a lot. Actually, I think you should take a tour across the nation and then talk about this.
여기?
Yeah, I live in Daejeon.
근데 모르셨다고요?
아니 알았는데.
이렇게는 몰랐어요.
야 나가신 얘기예요. 만나시면 그렇지만
부정선거 수치가 알겠죠.
젊은 친구들에게만 이거를 많이 강요를 해서 제가 70% 80% 했는데 그런 사람들이 정말
Everybody talking.
아이 무슨
시간이 없어서 그냥 이게
서울대 그때 그 직장이 2월까지 있었는데 그 친구가 전화를 해서 술 먹잖아. 야, 인형 감각이 있어야 된다. 이러더라고요. 그래서 너무 섭섭해요. 나경원이다.
So we are like in a twin.
Just make it really simple. Firstly, you feel that Israel and Korea are US allies, strike the right power. And secondly, did I understand you correctly? You want to.
아 여러분 너무 시간이 길었네요. 이렇게 길어야 될 줄 몰랐습니다. 저 밀린 게 너무 많아가지고 이제 죽었습니다 오늘. 네. 저 한 2시간 정도 끝낼 줄 알았는데 다음번에 하면 안전히 또 할 것 같습니다. 네, 여러분 그러면 안녕, 감사합니다. 네.